Aquino with what the St. Louis police chief is saying about a weekend filled with violence.
New details from the CEO of the company that bought Six Flags St. Louis on new rides, fixes to old rides, and what happens to Bugs Bunny. I'm Michael Calhoun with the latest.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. Mostly sunny today, very hot and humid with a high of 99.
Cardinal baseball coming to you from Atlanta tonight. We'll update you on the standings, plus some stunning results from the World Cup last night. It's all on the way. Sports at 15 and 45 past the hour at 6 o'clock.
News, talk, cards. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. The final decisions from the Supreme Court's term due today, including a ruling on President Trump's order limiting birthright citizenship. Dangerous heat settling in across large parts of the eastern half of the country. Here's ABC meteorologist Lee Goldberg.
The heat's peaking over the Midwest right now. There are ridge-riding thunderstorms across the upper lakes. We have heat alerts from Kansas to Maine. It'll be triple digits again in Chicago and Green Bay, feeling like 105 to 110. The heat gets to the East Coast on Wednesday. Large swath of the I-95 corridor on Wednesday. It'll be 100 in Detroit and D.C. and near 100 in Philly and New York by Thursday and potentially into Friday. This peaks on Thursday and Friday, but less extreme heat could mean more thunderstorms for the 4th right here in New York.
Both the U.S. and Iran say delegations are heading to Qatar this week, but Iran is still saying there are no agreements for any meetings. President Trump says they're supposed to meet today. Prosecutors in Monaco say a person who set off an explosion has fled to France, a Ukrainian oligarch among those hurt. This is ABC News. President Trump continues to say he will fight the case brought against him by E. Jean Carroll. Here's ABC's Mary Bruce.
The Supreme Court letting stand a jury's $5 million judgment in favor of writer E. Jean Carroll. The jury found Trump sexually abused Carroll in the mid-90s and later defamed her. The president asked the justices to review the case, but they refused. And so now Trump will have to pay Carroll that $5 million.
Wildlife officials in Florida said they have captured 2 alligators from a river where a 31-year-old woman was killed after going swimming in about 3 feet of water. Chad Weber is with Florida Fish and Wildlife.
So she was bitten on both of her arms. The boyfriend was the one that made the phone call. He was trying to get her from the alligator's mouth. And on the way to the hospital, she did pass away from her injuries.
They did kill 2 gators in that area, one of them 12 feet, the other 13 feet long. I'm Sherry Preston, ABC News.
It is 6:02 and it's 77 degrees already in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. 4 people died, another 7 injured in 4 different incidents between Saturday night and early Sunday morning. One of the double shootings happened in the QT on Gravois at Loughborough. The others were in Soulard, downtown West, and Walnut Park.
Those shootings do not include the one where one person was shot and 2 others fired at in the area of 17th and Chestnut, prompting the postponement of the City 2 soccer game. St. Louis Police Chief Robert Tracy says despite all the proactive police work, there were a lot of shootings.
This is an ongoing investigation, and we're still in the early stages. What we know so far is that 3 individuals were visiting friends at City View Apartments. The group was walking west on Chestnut when they were fired upon by a person.
Tracy says a 20-year-old man is believed to have returned fire, and the chief says that person had an ankle monitoring bracelet on and gun. However, he says he was released by detectives, but says the investigation is ongoing. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
Every 4th of July, Kirkwood police say they get swamped with calls about illegal fireworks. Pinning down who's actually lighting them off is the hard part. This year, the department is putting a drone on the case.
Officer Gary Baldridge tells our Michael Calhoun what they've been up against.
In years past, would officers get this call, get the dispatch, and then have to drive around and try to figure out where it was being launched from and maybe not even be able to figure it out? And it seems like it would have been frustrating in the past to try to figure this out from on the ground.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of times several times where we just get an area, someone calls in from their residence and say, hey, they're coming from somewhere behind my house, and it's up to the officer to sit there and play, hide and seek with the fireworks shooters. And unless there's something in the air, we may not know who's shooting it.
The department says the drone's live camera, spotlight, and even infrared can spot where the fireworks are coming from. Kirkwood has had the drone for years, but this is the first 4th of July that police are using it for fireworks.
Miller's Grill in Washington, Missouri has settled a federal sexual harassment and retaliation lawsuit filed by the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. Miller's Grill and owner Larry Miller deny any wrongdoing, but will pay $25,000 and implement procedures to keep the harassment from happening again. According to the EEOC, manager Lisa Kelly was subjected to fondling, lewd, and sexual comments, and Miller asking her for dates and sex. Kelly says Miller got increasingly angry about her ignoring those advances and would yell and berate her in front of customers and employees. Eventually, Miller stopped scheduling her for work.
It's not every day the head of a federal agency lectures a U.S. senator on manners. In a letter to Missouri's Josh Hawley, Postmaster General David Steiner pushed back on the senator's attacks over Missouri mail, specifically St. Louis area mail. Then he signed off by saying his mother taught him to treat people with respect, and he'll expect that from Hawley going forward.
It follows a hearing where the two clashed even over a chuckle.
It is an absolute disgrace.
Let the record reflect that I was laughing when you said we've been given everything we've asked for.
You have been given an opportunity to deliver the mail, and you're here laughing about it.
In the letter, Steiner argues the service is improving, citing numbers showing most first-class mail in the Kansas-Missouri district arrived on time the week ending June 19th.
Lawmakers in D.C. working on a new reconciliation package to fund the war in Iran. Could they include in that funding for St. Louis tornado relief?
Community Development Block Grant disaster funds could be tens, if not over $100 million for St. Louis to help rebuild after last year's tornado. U.S. Senator Eric Schmidt was asked if funding the war in Iran is a chance to get those funds earmarked.
Is there going to be a bill where you can get Republicans and Democrats to come together on that? I'm supportive of it. I talked to the mayor about it just last week. And so we're going to work as hard as we can to get something done there.
Asked if this defense spending bill is the one Schmidt is alluding to, he said it could be. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Also in the news this morning on Total Information AM, Governor Mike Kehoe telling reporters Missouri has a spending problem.
We have a spending problem, and business people understand, households understand that when you're bringing in sufficient revenue, but you're spending more than you're bringing in, you have to make some tough decisions, and we'll work with that. I'm going to have a call with legislative leaders.
Governor Kehoe says he will meet with legislative leaders to talk about what is a responsible plan for Missourians, but Kehoe cautions not everyone is going to be happy, and he says he understands that.
The deadline to apply or reapply for the senior tax freeze in St. Louis County is today. If you're a senior in St. Charles, you've been given a little more time. The St. Charles County Council unanimously passed an ordinance that gives seniors until midnight on July 6th to get all of their paperwork in. They say that move is to make up for a handful of days in June when their online portal wasn't working.
Missouri's plan to expand I-70 to 3 lanes in each direction is moving into its next phase. MoDOT says a $583 million contract is set to cover the stretch between Kingdom City and Warrenton. Improve I-70 Director Eric Kopinski tells MissouriNet this section of the project is a major piece of the overall expansion.
We do know that the pavement of the existing lanes is in poor condition. It's at the end of its useful life. And so we're making a big push to try to replace all of that pavement as well. We do know there will be traffic impacts.
The contract could be awarded in November, with construction between Kingdom City and Warrenton starting as soon as spring 2027.
Well, speaking of roadways, hopefully the ones you need to get yourself into work today are clear. We'll check them. And the steamy weather forecast coming up next at 6:08.
You work hard, follow the rules, and get absolutely slammed by taxes. Your paycheck taxed, your property taxed, everything you buy taxed. Missouri's tax system isn't broken, it's rigged against you. The lawyers and lobbyists working for big corporations and the super rich buried over 200 loopholes for themselves in our tax code. While they pay nothing on the services they use, working families are taxed over and over. It's no wonder they're lying about Amendment 5. Our corrupt tax system is rigged in their favor. They're getting a free ride on your back. Don't believe their lies. The truth is, Amendment 5 closes loopholes exploited by the super rich and slashes taxes paid by Missouri's working families, phasing out income taxes and cutting property taxes. They finally pay what they owe while you keep what you earn. Vote yes on Amendment 5, paid for by Missouri Promise PAC.
This year, America celebrates 250 years, 2.5 centuries of courage, sacrifice, and family stories passed down from one generation to the next. Hi, I'm Nick Mako.
And I'm Adam Baselogger, founders of Legacy Box. Your family's piece of the American story is sitting in an attic or closet right now, trapped on aging VHS tapes, camcorder tapes, film reels, and fading photos.
Those boxes hold moments you can never recreate. Your wedding day, your children's voices when they were little, grandparents coming back to life on screen.
Over 2 million families have trusted Legacy Box. And we've just partnered with the USO to digitize fragile handwritten letters from World War II, helping preserve American history for future generations.
As America turns 250, remember that your family is a part of the American story. Preserving those voices, faces, and moments is a part of your responsibility to the next generation. Don't let them disappear on your watch.
Visit legacybox.com/radio for our amazing America 250 sale. That's legacybox.com/radio to save.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
Let's check in with Roger Brand, overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, the only place we have issues, Tom, is on Highway 70 westbound, and I still see barrels out there. So right now I don't see any traffic coming through. You know what they normally do is they hold up traffic when they're, ready to complete the road work and get it picked up, and they go through and pick up the barrels without any traffic getting by, so they don't have to worry about, anybody getting struck or anything while they're doing that. So that's what it looks like the case is now, because we had a single file line going through there, but now I'm not seeing any traffic at David Hokel Parkway. So it's starting to back up a little bit once again. There's a delay at Wentzville Parkway or approaching it. That's where they start to hold up the traffic. So it looks like they're going to be clearing it. They're working on it, but not yet. And so it's turned back into more of a jam in that area right now. That is the only interstate issue we have out there. Just a little heads up today. It's daytime hours, but they can have restrictions at the interchange with 270 and 111 starting this morning at 7 a.m. It'll be during daytime hours through Thursday. They should be wrapped up by 3 on Thursday. Next update is 620 from the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
When you're injured on the job, you need more than just a workers' comp lawyer. When you need a fighter, you need us. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. For the people. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
An extreme heat warning is in effect through 10 p.m. Friday with AccuWeather real field temperatures likely to exceed 105 each afternoon. Mostly sunny today with sweltering heat, the high 99. A warm, muggy night ahead under clear skies, low 78. Hazy sun, hot and humid tomorrow, high 97. Thursday, hazy sun and some clouds, hot and very humid with a chance of an afternoon thunderstorm, high 96. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It's clear, and right now it's 78 degrees at 612.
Sports in 3 minutes.
Every time it works out, there's always a fan still working and a body that's still dead.
Cool down. St. Louis founder Gentry Trotter with a stark warning of how people die during extreme weather like this. He says you can't survive this heat without an air conditioner.
People need to realize that air conditioners are the life savers. The ones that Ameren gave us, a lady just gave us $30,000 the other day, and we're able to buy additional air conditioners. And I think that's critically important to speak to the needs that are out there.
Visit cooldownstlewis.org for help.
Well, experts say keeping your home cool isn't just about lowering the thermostat. Rachel Pearson sharing a few simple tips to help your air conditioner work more efficiently.
Combination of high temperatures and humidity will keep air conditioners running around the clock this week. Purdue University mechanical engineering professor Bill Hutzel says a clean air filter helps improve airflow. And when it comes to window units, proper drainage is key.
They tend to have moisture buildup, and you want to be aware of that. So making sure that window air conditioner is tilted properly so the water drains out.
And while you may be tempted to turn the temperature way down, Hutzel says that doesn't cool things down any faster.
One thing to recognize is that an air conditioner cools at a more or less constant rate. So setting that temperature from 70 down to 60 doesn't really cool the space any quicker.
Instead, he recommends keeping the home at a reasonable temperature or using a smart thermostat that can automatically adjust settings while you're away. Rachel Pearson, News Radio, 105.9 WBBM.
KMOX might soon come under the same ownership as the Post-Dispatch. The Hoffman family of companies has announced a proposed deal to buy 6 St. Louis radio stations from Odyssey pending FCC approval. Founder David Hoffman controls more than 150 newspapers nationwide and says the radio acquisition is his first step into broadcast.
There's been a lot of speculation about the sale of Six Flags St. Louis and what it means for rides and for licensed characters. We get more details from the CEO.
I keep telling everybody, just remember we took over on April 6th. And if you do the math, that isn't that long ago.
It was just a couple of weeks before the St. Louis Park opened. Enchanted Park's CEO James Harhide told the crowd at CoasterCon, put on by the American Coaster Enthusiasts Group, that they've already put, quote, a lot of money into tuning up rides to get them up to Enchanted standards. Six Flags reportedly have been cutting back on maintenance in recent years. He says Enchanted is a big plan for this offseason to continue to improve.
The other big question is, are you putting any new rides in? I don't know that answer just yet. We will be putting new rides in, but I told everybody I'll tell you in August.
The park is still called Six Flags St. Louis under a transitional season and still has Looney Tunes and DC characters and rides. Harhide told CoasterCon that Six Flags is keeping those exclusive rights, but did include an exception for St. Louis. He's hopeful that Enchanted will be able to ink a long-term deal with WB that might even include new rights to Paramount movie and TV franchises. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
I remember when I commented that the United States men's national team was the best that I've seen in my lifetime. A few people shot back that Paraguay was not a very good opponent the first time around. Well, what do you think of them now? They've knocked out Germany. Paraguay beat Germany yesterday, knocking them out of the FIFA World Cup and advancing to the round of 16, beating Germany 4-3 on penalties, the biggest upset of the World Cup thus far. And then last night, Morocco eliminated the Netherlands, the team that I picked to win it all, or at least thought it was a good value to win it all, eliminating the Dutch 3-2 after a 1-1 draw. So who knows what right now in the World Cup? We know this. Brazil looked pretty good, beating Japan yesterday, and there are more games on the docket today. The United States plays tomorrow against Bosnia and Herzegovina. U.S. Captain Tim Ream says his teammates all recognize the golden opportunity in front of them to make their nation's best World Cup run in their home tournament over the following days. Yet, instead of feeling amplified pressure under the raised expectations, the Americans appear to be energized by it. An opportunity to make history. The U.S. is significantly favored to beat the Bosnians in the round of 32, which would be an achievement in itself just to get there. The team has won exactly one knockout round match in its entire World Cup history. Meanwhile, the Cardinals, they've won 11 world championships. They're looking for a 12th. They seem to be far from the roster that they want to have in that world championship season that they seek, but here they are in a playoff spot right now, maybe just a little ahead of schedule. They're tied for the final wild card spot in the National League with the Marlins. This is a big week for the Cardinals to see who they are. They play the Braves tonight. It's a 6:15 start. We'll have it for you with a 5:20 pregame. Matthew Liberatore is on the mound, which brings to mind a lot of things. Liberatore was the opening day starter for this club, but he has had a very difficult season. He's 3-5 with a 5.56 ERA, and looking over his game logs, he has had a lot of issues getting through games. In his last start, just look at that one, 5 1/3, and he gave up 6 runs in 1 inning. The start before that, just an inning and 2/3, gave up 7 runs, 5 of them earned. Before that, and the start before that in June, each of them 4 1/3 innings, and struggled to get through those games and get this team in a position to be able to save its bullpen. The Cardinals are tied for the final wild card spot in the National League. The Braves, meanwhile, have been battling the Phillies at the top of the NL East. Atlanta's lead is only 3.5 games going into this 3-game series. And then the Cardinals go to a place called Wrigley Field this weekend to take on the Cubs for July 4th weekend. I'm Tom Ackerman on the home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Rev up your Cardinals wardrobe on Friday, July 10th when the Cardinals battle the Braves. That night, fans can shift into style with the Cardinals garage-style button-up presented by Brown & Crouppen. A retro-inspired look featuring detailed stitching and a classic patch for vintage game day vibes. It's available in medium and extra large while supplies last. Gear up and take this look for a spin. Get your tickets now at cardinals.com/promotions.
This is Dustin May. See you at Busch Stadium.
Sail on down for the inaugural Yacht Rock Night on Friday, July 10th, when the Cardinals take on the Braves. With the purchase of a special theme ticket, fans will take home an exclusive Cardinals captain's hat, perfect for smooth sailing all summer long. Don't miss a pregame concert by the Yacht Rockers on the Budweiser stage. Set the vibe and cruise into the weekend. Get your tickets now at cardinals.com/theme.
The legendary Fast Eddie at Fast Eddie's Bon Air and St. Louis baseball legend Jason Isringhausen. Izzy, what's going on, man?
Hey, you know what, Eddie boy, I've been pretty busy. Got to get out there and got to do the mowing.
Yep, I'll tell you what, when you get done mowing the grass.
Well, I do my best Forrest Gump impression with all that mowing I have to do around the property.
Do it for St. Louis, do it.
Like Mama said, life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get, except at Fast Eddie's Bon Air. What are we going to get at Fast Eddie's?
Let me get it right. You can come on over to Fast Eddie's Bar Bon Air, located on the other side of Clark Bridge in beautiful Alton, Illinois. When you're done mowing the grass, come over here and lounge around with me on the beautiful outdoor patio with all the big screens, the live music playing, the hot chick on a stick.
What about that fancy surf and turf you came up with?
Man, I'm telling you what, that is meat and seafood on one stick. And it's called the Eddie. It's the king of all foods.
Like Mr. Shannon always said, if you're 21 in the mood, come on over to that Clark Bridge and come see Fast Eddie's Bon Air in beautiful Alton, Illinois.
Now the news at 1 the fun. It's the Dave Glover Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 6:21. Let's check in with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we still got delays on Highway 70, Debbie. Steve Butts and the entire Crawford Butts family wish America a very happy 250th, and that's we're talking about westbound 70. They're still holding the traffic up before you get past David Hokel Parkway, so it's jammed at Wentzville Parkway. I don't see any westbound traffic coming through. They normally hold traffic up while they pick up the barrels, so hopefully that's what they're doing. There's out of my sight. I can still see barrels out there and no traffic coming through westbound 70, so they're in progress trying to get things completed for you. That is the only interstate backup we have. No other delays in the other work zones. Again, they're going to be starting daytime work today through Thursday at 3 p.m. Daytime work at the interchange with 270 and 111. They'll have various restrictions in place beginning in the 7 a.m. hours, so be prepared for that. As America celebrates its 250th anniversary, Steve Butts and everyone at Crawford Butts Insurance extend their heartfelt wishes for a safe and joyous 4th of July celebration. For generations, Crawford Butts has been proud to serve the community. Steve Butts and the entire Crawford Butts family wish America a very happy 250th. Next update at 6:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Weather, we're in extreme heat warning until Friday night. Sunny and hot today, high 99. Will feel like 110. Tonight, clear, warm, low just 78. Tomorrow, hazy sunshine, hot and humid, and a high of 97. It's 79 right now.
It is 6:22. A 10-year-old is facing murder charges after shooting and killing a 7-month-old. What do we know about the case?
I spoke to attorney John Davis, a partner with Kessler Williams, LLC, who has seen these types of juvenile criminal cases as a defense attorney, prosecutor, and judge. He tells KMOX this is the youngest murder charge he can think of.
The criminal justice system in Missouri handling a 10-year-old for first-degree murder is pretty unique.
He says the gravity of this case is deep and varies based on your role.
The gravity for the defense in this position would be the well-being of that child until he's at least 21 years old.
For the judge?
The judge, of course, absolutely positively wants to make it right and get it right.
And the prosecution
has the burden of proof and of protecting the citizens of in this case, the city, from the circuit attorney's office. And that's all taken very, very seriously from every aspect that's going to be going on in the courtroom.
The 10-year-old is not the only individual charged in this killing. 19-year-old Kamarion Pawnell faces 1 count of murder in the second and 3 counts of endangering the welfare of a child. How much of that case will reveal the details of the shooting?
The adult prosecution of the 19-year-old will shed some light on the facts and circumstances of what happened at the house that day. But it won't name the juvenile by name, won't give any specific details like that. but there already is a probable cause statement.
The probable cause statement has already shown the 10-year-old obtained the gun from under a mattress and that he was aware of it and had taken it before. How about the motivation of the 10-year-old? Is that something that could become public knowledge through Pawnell's case?
Not for public consumption, no. I can't imagine a scenario where that would happen, no.
However, the charge itself, murder in the first, does speak to some motivation.
First-degree murder in the state of Missouri requires a person to cause the death of another person, and I'm quoting the statute here, after deliberation upon the matter.
Davis says this steep charge means intent was clear.
Somebody thought about it, somebody knew what the consequences were going to be, and went ahead and performed the act.
One thing that will not be public, the verdict against the juvenile. Davis adds the purpose of the juvenile detention system is rehabilitation, not punishment.
It will be more an adjudication, and he will remain in juvenile custody in Missouri, again, with the idea for rehabilitation for whatever issues he may be dealing with.
With the alleged shooter being under 12 years old, the juvenile court cannot pursue certifying him as an adult. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
A urologist who accused SSM Medical Group of firing her in retaliation for complaints about unequal pay and substandard care was awarded almost $7 million by a federal jury. Dr. Deborah Lascola filed her lawsuit against SSM and SLU in April 2024. She was hired in 2019, but says she was paid less than her male colleagues, was fired for complaining about that and reporting a male colleague whom she says gave a patient who died substandard care. She said that doctor swore and berated her in an operating room, and SSM didn't properly investigate her complaints. SSM's attorney says they will appeal if necessary. The latest COVID vaccine appears quite safe when it comes to adverse events, according to a new study out of Washington University School of Medicine.
Clinical researcher Dr. Ziad Al-Ali at WashU Medicine and the VA St. Louis healthcare system studied the health records of 2.5 million veterans to find out if the most current COVID vaccines caused any more adverse events in patients who got them compared to those who didn't.
So we've looked at a lot of things, from strokes, heart attacks, inflammation of the brain, myocarditis, inflammation of the heart, myocarditis or inflammation of the heart, deep vein thrombosis, which is really clotting of the veins, Guillain-Barré syndrome, brain hemorrhage. We've looked at literally 46 different outcomes spanning the gamut.
And while generally speaking, all medications could have adverse events, Dr. Al-Ali says his study did not find any significant or measurable association between getting the COVID vaccine and any of those complications. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
It's 6:27. Time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
I'm Tom Ackerman with this month's Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight, Skin Cancer Awareness this summertime, and we're joined by Dr. Aubriana McAvoy, a WashU medicine surgeon at Siteman Cancer Center.
So one of the biggest warning signs is a spot that's changing. So that could be changing in size, shape, color, or certainly if something has symptoms like itching or bleeding. We call it the ugly duckling sign, which is a mole that looks different from all the other ones on your body. I let patients know they should pay attention to sores that don't heal, scaly spots, or growths that bleed easily. If something is new or changing or just doesn't seem right, it's worth getting checked out. A lot of spots turn out to be benign when you're at the dermatologist, but skin cancer is much easier to treat when it's caught early.
For more information, visit siteman.washu.edu.
While the world watches the stars at the FIFA World Cup this summer, Hyundai has its eyes on the next generation of talent. The future stars who are already turning heads at age 14. Because next doesn't wait for an invitation. And neither do we. Hyundai has always moved the future within reach. We did it when we made advanced safety standard on every vehicle and engineered EVs with ultra-fast charging capability. Because the future isn't some far-off concept. It's already here. Next starts now. Hyundai, an official partner of FIFA.
I built this business the old-fashioned way. Hard work and a whole lot of spreadsheets.
Yeah, about that,
I upgraded us to Odoo. Odoo puts everything we need, sales, inventory, accounting, on one connected platform. No more juggling systems, no more headaches.
So it all works together?
Exactly.
Odoo is the all-in-one business software that makes running and passing on a business easier than ever. Take your business into the next generation. Try Odoo free at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
When it comes to family law, a lot has changed in recent years, so assumptions can be costly. If you see or sense a change coming in your family life that could have legal implications, it's important to know where you stand. Getting good legal advice early is never a bad idea. I'm Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. If you or anyone you know is facing a family law issue, start with a consultation. Visit CordellCordell.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. 600 Kelwood, St. Louis.
Seen more bees, wasps, or hornets around your home? Carpenter bees can damage wood structures, and wasps and hornets often hide nests inside walls. Don't risk getting stung. Let Rottler Pest Solutions protect your home and family. Call Rottler today or visit Rottler.com.
It is 6:30. Right now, we've got sunshine, 78 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, they got those barrels picked up finally, Tom. Traffic's flowing in through David Hokel Parkway on westbound 70 now. Both lanes open, so no longer any delays there. Southbound 61 at the 70 East ramp. Just a little busy on the crossover there, passing 64. But once you get on to eastbound 70 or 64, you look great across the Missouri River bridges and the rest of these interstates. On both sides of the river is still pretty quiet. I do see a little bit of a delay, though, on westbound 270 from 111 headed into 203. It looks like there's an incident before you get to 203. They're scheduled to be working at the interchange 270 at 111, but that's not scheduled to start for about another 30 minutes. It'll be daytime work today through Thursday, various restrictions at that interchange. So it looks like we may have an incident westbound just west of there. Next update at 6:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Today is going to be like every other day in this forecast. Very, very hot with dangerous temperatures. So take it easy if you have to do anything outdoors. Extreme heat warning in effect through 10 p.m. Friday. Today, mostly sunny, 99. Tomorrow, hazy sunshine, 97. Right now, it's 78.
The next generation fighter jets are getting closer to beginning production as their assembly hangar comes together in St. Louis County. U.S. Senator Eric Schmidt says this project was almost cut entirely by the Biden administration.
In 2024 in the NDAA, there was an effort to zero out the next generation air defense or deterrence.
Schmidt says he pushed for the jet to be built in St. Louis when the Trump administration pushed for the jet's development.
Kirkwood police are bringing in a new tool to fight against illegal fireworks this 4th of July, a drone. It's the first year the department's flying one over neighborhoods to investigate holiday fireworks complaints, and it comes with a feature people might not see coming, but they'll hear it.
KMOX's Michael Calhoun asked Kirkwood Police spokesman Officer Gary Baldridge.
What are some of the interesting or unique features about this? For instance, I heard that it has a loudspeaker on it.
Correct. Yeah. So our drone, it has a loudspeaker. We have a spotlight. So along with all the other bells and whistles that it has a live camera feed. We're able to record. Also has infrared technology. Really, the list goes on and on. But our loudspeaker, we're going to utilize, we have a pre-recorded message that in the event we make contact with anyone who is illegally discharging fireworks, which by itself is illegal, we'll be able to play the message.
That recorded message is a warning to stop and that an officer may follow up in person. One thing the drone can't do, Officer Baldridge tells us, it can't hand out a ticket from the air.
The news sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. We will get you your Money Minute coming up after this. It's 6:33.
It's not really a sports show. It's just a show.
So I don't really have a sports show, but I love the Cardinals. I am born and bred St. Louis, went to my first game like so many of you, 4 years old. Couldn't believe how green it was standing there next to the players with my dad. And now I go with my kids. You get it. So when you listen to the DGS, it's going to be a slice of life happy hour, but we're always going to talk Cardinals.
The Dave Glover Show at 1. Then stick around for Cardinals baseball.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Let's check business, sponsored by Eamon Ganner and Capriano, Elder Law Attorneys.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. The Justice Department and a number of states have reached a settlement with egg producers over allegations of illegal price coordination. Cal-Maine Foods and others will pay $3.3 million in civil penalties and donate more than 50 million eggs under the terms of the agreement. An investigation kicked off a little over a year ago following record-breaking prices. Checking on the markets, investors are keeping a close watch on peace talks between the U.S. and Iran. Iran reiterating that it wants to control traffic through the Strait of Hormuz. This morning, S&P futures are rising 4 points, Dow futures gaining 75. And Walmart is tapping its own employees to become opticians. The retailer is starting a program for its frontline workers that offers 2 years of training, certifications, and a degree in optician science. It's expected to cost more than $20,000 per staff member, and workers' pay could nearly double when they complete the program. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
Man, I love this place. I've been surfing here since I was a kid. Now, seeing my grandson out on the water, it means everything to me. Watching him and taking in the blue waves, the sea breeze, the blurry horizon.
If you have geographic atrophy, or GA, subtle changes in vision could mean it's progressing toward irreversible vision loss. Izervay is proven to slow GA progression and could help preserve your vision for longer, so you may keep seeing the world around you. Izervay, or avacincaptad pegol, is an eye injection. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may cause blood in the white of the eye, blurred vision, or a temporary increase in eye pressure. Do not drive or use machinery until vision has recovered after an eye injection or exam. Ask your retina specialist how you can slow your GA with Izervay. To learn more, call 1-855-IZERVAY or go to izervay.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
Let me tell you something about insurance. When you sign your insurance policy, for some brokers, that's the finish line. Handshake, commission, done. Then you may not hear from them again until it's time for renewal. But your business runs all year, so do the gaps and the risk. So go to supersure.com. If your company has more than 25 employees, whether you're the owner, CFO, or HR manager, it can be too complex to just go buy a policy online. Supersure is the super agency built for you, licensed in every state for your business insurance and employee benefits, all with year-round support for you and your team. At supersure.com, you can access tools like fine print facts. It'll translate your current policy into plain English so you see what's covered and what's not. Plus a business value calculator so you can estimate what your business is worth so you know what actually needs protecting. Go to supersure.com. One super agency, one powerful platform, all your policies in one place. Supersure.com. That's supersure.com. Paid for by Supersure Insurance Agency, LLC, a licensed insurance agency.
And Doug. There's nowhere I wouldn't go to help someone customize and save on car insurance with Liberty Mutual, even if it means sitting front row at a comedy show.
Hey, everyone, check out this guy and his bird. What is this, your first date?
Oh, no. We help people customize and save on car insurance with Liberty Mutual together. We're married. Me to a human, him to a bird.
Yeah, the bird looks out of your league anyways.
Get a quote at libertymutual.com or with your local agent.
Liberty, 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 liberty. Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's best eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Today, the Cards, the Braves. Cameron Total Access 520. First pitch 6:15. Cardinals Radio. 104.1 FM KMOX.
It's 6:39 here on Total Information AM. Traffic in 1 minute. Today's expected to be another blockbuster at the United States Supreme Court. Among the major decisions coming down the pipeline, the justices could decide on President Trump's attempt to block birthright citizenship. That would deny automatic citizenship to children born in the U.S. to parents who are undocumented or only in the U.S. temporarily. Also today, the justices are set to rule on whether states can ban transgender girls from playing on girls' sports teams.
In a ruling with direct bearing on the midterm elections, the Supreme Court narrowly upheld a Mississippi law allowing tabulation of late arriving mail-in ballots so long as they were postmarked by Election Day. The president called the Supreme Court's decision a tremendous loss and again called on Congress to pass the Save America Act, his signature election and voting legislation, but there were not enough Republican votes.
The death toll in Venezuela has climbed to 1,719. Venezuelan lawmaker Jorge Rodriguez said that following powerful earthquakes last Wednesday. Another 5,034 people were injured, he said. However, there has been extraordinary moments of young people being found, including a mother with her 18-day-old baby who were found alive. Responders are still undertaking rescue operations, searching for people thought to be under the rubble.
It's 6:40, bright sunshine this morning, and it is going to start heating up quickly. It's already almost 80 degrees at 6:40. More on the forecast in just a moment. First, let's get you updated on your ride-in from Roger Brand and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, the highways are starting to heat up just a bit, Debbie, as well. Unfortunately, this traffic report's a service of the Sandberg Phoenix Law Firm. If you're on northbound 270, it looks like, I can't tell. I guess it's just a stall. I see one vehicle, but he's blocking the left lane northbound 270, trying to be on the shoulder, but it's partially in the left lane north 270, just before the Clayton Road overpass, so traffic is backing up, approaching Manchester. It's also a little slow from about the Sappington Road overpass up to Gravois on North 270 right now. Like I said, westbound 70 between Wentzville and David Hochul Parkways is open up, but it's slow now. Forestell about midway out to Wright City, so be careful there. Eastbound 30 kind of heavy up the hill from Mauer to 270, and westbound 270 still seeing delays approaching 111 headed to 203 over in Madison County, and roadwork delays on westbound 5570 approaching 157. Next update is 6:50 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
At Sandberg Phoenix, we're more than just a law firm. We're partners committed to you, your business, and your community. From family law to litigation, we're ready to serve. Visit SandbergPhoenix.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertising.
AccuWeather's Joe Lundberg. This is some stifling heat we're dealing with, but hey, it's summer and we're approaching the 4th of July.
Indeed, we are. And this is really not uncommon for this time of the year, Tom, to see this kind of heat at this time of the year. And I guess if there's one little good piece of information is that we're not setting records in this heat, but it is still going to be hot just the same. Extreme heat warning is in effect really for the next 3 days, actually all the way through 10 p.m. Friday. Sunshine today up to 99, probably the hottest day of the bunch. Clear, warm, sticky tonight, lows in the upper 70s. Hazy, hot, and humid tomorrow with sunshine up to 97. Hazy sunshine mixed with clouds Thursday. Could be a thunderstorm in the afternoon, the high 96. Friday, partly sunny, hot, very humid. Could be a thunderstorm, the high 95. Independence Day, more the same. Partly sunny, hot, very humid. A good chance of a thunderstorm, the high again about 94, 95. Right now, it's 78 degrees at St. Peter's, 79 in Florissant, 80 with a real feel of 83 downtown at the Arch with sunshine. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 6:43. Thank you, Joe. We've got sports coming your way in 2 minutes. The Supreme Court voted Monday to allow President Trump to remove a Democratic member of the Federal Trade Commission, Rebecca Slaughter, for policy reasons. The 6-3 decision along ideological lines rolls back 90 years of legal precedent and significantly expands presidential power. We get more from ABC's Stephen Portnoy.
Conservatives believe that every person who's appointed by the president is acting under his authority. John Roberts put it this way: subordinates who exercise the president's powers are subject to removal by him. Now, critics say that yesterday's decision in this regard puts too much power in the hands of the president and his loyalists, that it threatens to end the deliberation of agencies such as the FTC. It could squelch and even eliminate dissent at those agencies that Congress intentionally set up with a bipartisan structure.
San Francisco Catholic Archdiocese has agreed to pay $395 million to settle more than 500 child sexual abuse lawsuits, ending a 3-year bankruptcy process. ABC's Luz Pena reports.
For 3 years, a committee of 9 survivors represented more than 500 survivors in front of the Archdiocese of San Francisco to reach this point, many speaking after decades of silence. The Archbishop of San Francisco released this letter saying sexual abuse of children and young people is a tragedy, and adding in part, I sincerely apologize to all those who have suffered because of those failures. We remain committed to fostering healing and reconciliation.
Philadelphia's famous Rocky Balboa statue is being replaced with a 12-foot bronze of a real Philadelphia fighter. The city unveiled Monday a statue of Joe Frazier, the heavyweight boxing champ who once took down Muhammad Ali. At the event, Philadelphia Mayor Sherelle Parker said the replacement was approved by Sylvester Stallone.
When I shared with Sylvester Stallone that we were moving Joe Frazier here, Sylvester Stallone said that is what is supposed to happen.
Well, the knockout round of the World Cup had some upsets that Rocky Balboa would raise an eyebrow to or maybe be excited about. Whatever the case, here they are. It started with an expected one, and that was Brazil knocking off Japan. That final was 2-1. But Germany was defeated by Paraguay. That happened yesterday. Yes, indeed. It's the biggest upset so far in the World Cup, no doubt. Paraguay beats Germany 4-3 on penalties as they celebrate in Foxborough, Massachusetts, and throughout the country of Paraguay as they defeat Germany and move on to the round of 16. And if that wasn't enough, down in Mexico, the Dutch were knocked out by Morocco. Morocco sent the Netherlands to its earliest World Cup exit. The Netherlands had reached at least the round of 16 in 11 previous World Cups, including a quarterfinal appearance 4 years ago when Morocco reached the semifinals. Now Morocco moves on to face Canada in the round of 16. So one of those is going to make it to the quarterfinals. The matchup, Morocco and Canada, will be Saturday in Houston. There are more matches today, and of course, we are very much looking forward to tomorrow. It's a 7:00 start for the United States on July 1st against Bosnia and Herzegovina. The Cardinals play tonight at 6:15. They visit the Braves. We'll have the pregame for you at 5:20. Cardinals had the day off yesterday. Probably good for them. They need some rest. Got to get that bullpen rested, as well as Jordan Walker, who had the day off Sunday and a day off in that travel day yesterday. So hopefully he is refreshed. The Cardinals are 7.5 out in the division. They're in third place in the NL Central. The wild card is what we're focusing on here. They're the final wild card team right now, tied with Miami for that final spot, but they have a slight edge in terms of winning percentage, 43-38 so far this season. But they were beaten by the Marlins 2 out of 3 this past weekend. Cardinals and Braves starting up at 6:15 tonight. Now to golf as we move to Bell Reef Country Club and the BMW Championship. They're just 7 weeks away. The vice president of tournaments for the Western Golf Association is Vince Pellegrino.
You know, the championship course, like Bell Reef, continues to put dollars back into the golf course, which is their most prized asset, to be able to host some of the best players in the world, to make it competitive and stay up to date with advancing equipment and everything that goes into, the game of golf these days. So it is a ideal spot. The fans are great, community's great, and, the golf course is going to test the best players in the world.
These are the top 50 players in the FedEx Cup playoffs that will be competing at Bell Reef August 18th through the 23rd. Scotty Scheffler among them, although he was beaten yesterday in the Travelers Championship by Victor Hovland. I'm Tom Ackerman, Who's Hot, Who's Not, sponsored by St. Louis Composting, growing gardens, making memories.
I'm Dr. Colleen Bosler with the Audiology Center, and I'm talking with my associate, Dr. Adam Voss. What happens to a person's brain when they ignore their hearing loss?
There is such a strong connection between the ear and the brain. Ignoring your hearing loss can cause the brain to become lazy and the speech areas in the brain to shrink. This is partially why you can hear the words, but you cannot understand them. If a hearing loss goes untreated for too long, It may cause an irreversible change in the brain. It is incredibly important to have your hearing screened at 60 or older, or sooner if you're noticing difficulty. And the sooner someone treats their hearing loss, the better and quicker their brain will adapt to hearing sound again. Studies show that those who get hearing aids, even with a mild hearing loss, are much more successful hearing aid users as compared to those that wait longer.
So call us today to get your comprehensive hearing evaluation with one of our doctors. 636-441-7470. Or visit us online, theaudiologycenterstl.com.
Summer is officially here, and that means the family internet, it is working overtime. All our lives are always online, and that's why I rely on i3 broadband. Traditional cable just can't keep up, but i3 delivers 100% true fiber directly into my home for ultra-smooth, reliable performance. Plus, they're a local provider that actually treats you like a neighbor. Skip the fake fiber. Head over to i3broadband.com/radio today or call 866-806-5485 to upgrade, because life runs better on fiber, and i3 broadband is here for you.
The soundtrack of classic rock is coming to Hollywood Casino Amphitheater August 6th. Leonard Skinner and Foreigner joining forces for one epic night of legendary hits and unforgettable memories. It's the Double Trouble Double Vision Tour. From Sweet Home Alabama to Cold as Ice. Don't miss your chance to experience these two Rock and Roll Hall of Fame acts in one incredible show. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.com. For more info, KMOX.com/events.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM KMOX. Total Information AM. The news continues on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 6:51, time to check in with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It looks like they have help on scene now, but that left lane's still blocked, Debbie, on northbound 270. This traffic reports a service of Ricken Financial. It's, I guess it's a stall is what it looks like. North 270, just before the Clayton Road overpass, left lane's blocked. So traffic is slow at about Big Bend, and it jams by the time you get to Manchester. And it's also slow down south, north of 55 up to Tesson Ferry on northbound 270 right now as well. Eastbound 30, a mile up the hill to 270 is slow, not jammed, though. And don't forget, West Watson is closed between Weber Hill and Pagata Parkway over there at Tapawingo for the next 3 months. So I think folks hopefully are getting used to that, because that began on Monday. Westbound 270 in Madison County still looking at this jam, a backup, an incident before 203. There's stop-and-go traffic from about 255 now, most of the way to 203 on that stretch. Next update at 6:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Join Jerry Ricken and Heidi Ricken Provost for Kickin' with the Rickens, Redefining Retirement, every Saturday at 3 p.m. right here on KMOX. And get more, including the Kickin' with the Rickens podcast, when you visit RickenFinancial.com.
Extreme heat warning in effect through 10 o'clock Friday night. Real field temperatures at or over 105 each afternoon. A high of 99 today. Sunny and just sweltering heat. Tonight, warm and sticky 78. Tomorrow, hazy sunshine, hot and humid, and a high of 97 degrees. Currently, we have a clear sky downtown. It's 79.
President Trump says he will continue to fight the case brought against him by E. Jean Carroll after the Supreme Court rejected his appeal in one of her cases. We get more from ABC's Mary Bruce.
The Supreme Court letting stand a jury's $5 million judgment in favor of writer E. Jean Carroll. The jury found Trump sexually abused Carroll in the mid-90s and later defamed her. The president asked the justices to review the case, but they refused. And so now Trump will have to pay Carroll that $5 million.
A former NBA player is facing federal charges accused in a sports gambling scheme, accused of helping gamblers win hundreds of thousands of dollars by tipping off gamblers on how he would play. ABC Chief Investigative Correspondent Aaron Katursky reports.
Prosecutors say former NBA player Malik Beasley, who made $60 million during his NBA career, accumulated multi-million-dollar gambling losses. And to pay off what he owed former teammate Ed Davis, agreed to underperform and at times overperform. In the 2024 game between the Milwaukee Bucks and LA Clippers, the indictment says Beasley promised to grab more rebounds than the sportsbooks predicted, soaring in the final seconds to get it done. His co-defendants collecting thousands of dollars from their alleged insider bet.
Well, Illinois makes billions off in-state gambling every year, but only a small percentage of that goes into treatment for gambling addicts. A partnership with the Illinois Answers Project and Capital News Illinois reporter Maggie Doherty found that people in Illinois lost $7.7 billion gambling last year. Doherty says Illinois brought in $2.3 billion from gambling tax revenues, most of which goes directly into the general fund.
A small amount goes back to treating gambling addiction, but it's a very small portion. For every $100 of that $2.6 billion that the state collects, only 6 cents goes back to treatment. And then about $4 million goes to a public awareness campaign.
A new Dunkin' is coming to the Central West End. Construction is underway at the new 4487 Forest Park Avenue location, although the Business Journal reports an opening date has not been announced. The store was previously occupied by American Cleaners.
And Able Light is coming to St. Peter's, the Wisconsin-based nonprofit opening its first Missouri location thrift store on Mexico Road in what used to be Advanced Auto Parts. The 8,000 square foot store is expected to employ 10 to 15 people. Able Light provides services to adults with developmental disabilities.
I heard it's somebody's birthday.
Birthday excitement. It's your birthday.
Well, the champ has turned 60. The youngest ever heavyweight champion at the age of 20 is now 60. Mike Tyson celebrating a birthday today. Blues coach Jim Montgomery is 57 today, and 23-time Olympic gold medalist Michael Phelps is 41.
The birthday shout out is sponsored by Renner Garage Door, RENNER, forward and back. Happy birthday to Dr. Mike Kiley from Gene. Charlie Mattingly is 15 today and ready to get his driver's permit. Happy birthday wishes to Carol Swally, Val Tiemann, Sylvia Boykman, Pat Doherty, Rocky Mason from the Spring family, and Mitch Hancock.
This is the best birthday ever.
Men, if you're suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, you're not alone. Most importantly, you don't have to live with it. Paramount Men's Medical Center restores men's sex lives in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, even when Viagra and Cialis don't work. Here's Dr. Simovitz, specialist in men's health.
Paramount Men's Medical Center's painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. 98% of patients see instant results right in the office.
Men are now lasting longer than they ever imagined. And the best part, at Paramount Men's Medical Center, your consultation and first treatment are free. Qualified patients even get their testosterone checked free. Call 314-720-8444. 314-720-8444. Take control of your sex life. Call now. 314-720-8444.
Hey guys, summer is right around the corner, and right now Universal Windows Direct is making it easier than ever to get the job done. When you buy 4 windows, you get 4 for free. That's one of their biggest offers of the year. The more windows you replace, the more you save. Plus, you'll get 48 months of 0% interest financing, same as cash. 314-334-2522 or visit universalwindowsdirect.com to schedule your free estimate today. That's universalwindowsdirect.com.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group. And I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney. And the truth is, I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney, I apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. After 15 years and over 50,000 cancellations, I can tell you with confidence, we know how to get you out of your timeshare. Call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit guide absolutely free with all your options for cancellation. Attorneys, this was meant to be funny, so please don't sue me, especially my friend Kenneth from Black River Falls, Wisconsin.
Call now for your free timeshare exit info kit. 800-838-6767. 800-838-6767. 800-838-6767.
Let's check in with Roger Brand over at Door Company St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, better news on North 270, Tom. They cleared that stall that was in the left lane near the Clayton Road overpass. It looks like it's either on the right shoulder completely or maybe they have the right lane partially blocked for it now. So North 270 is slow at Big Bend and jammed at Doherty Ferry up through to about the Clayton Road overpass, but at least they're getting that thing wrapped up. So hopefully we'll continue to see improvement there. Otherwise, we just have that delay on westbound 270. It doesn't look as bad as it did, but it's still slow west of 255 most of the way to 203, and some roadwork delays on westbound 5570 between 111 and 203 as well. Next update at 7:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Today is Tuesday, June 30th. Yes, say goodbye to June. Tomorrow is already July 1st. I'm Debbie Monterrey, and these are the stories making news.
Changing the perception of violent crime in St. Louis. I'm Maria Aquino with details.
New optimism that Enchanted Parks will cut a deal to keep the Batman at what will soon be formerly known as Six Flags St. Louis. I'm Michael Calhoun with the latest.
This is KMOX Health Editor Fred Bodimer. A new local study looks at any possible adverse health events from getting the COVID vaccine. The results are coming up.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. The persistent heat and humidity continues today with sunshine and a high of 99.
Cardinals are in Atlanta. Some stunning results from the World Cup and the BMW Championship just weeks away in St. Louis.
Celebrating 100 years of informing and entertaining. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. The voice of St. Louis.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. The final rulings of this term from the Supreme Court are expected in a couple of hours. They will include decisions on whether President Trump's order limiting birthright citizenship can stand. There's another decision on trans girls in sports. Search teams still looking for survivors after the Venezuela earthquakes. ABC News Chief International Correspondent James Longman is there and says the devastation goes on and on.
We just saw building after building after building flattened like concertina, pancaked, and you can see kind of strips of concrete where apartments once were. We saw, the streets, basically, it feels like the concrete on the roads is all kind of wavy.
Heat waves will be rising up in states from the Midwest to the Northeast this week. 160 million Americans under some sort of heat advisory. Bad weather has forced NASA to delay the launch of a robot designed to save a space telescope from burning up in the atmosphere. This is ABC News. More former NBA players are facing federal charges as a part of a wide-reaching sports gambling scheme.
Prosecutors say former NBA player Malik Beasley, who made $60 million during his NBA career, accumulated multi-million-dollar gambling losses. And to pay off what he owed former teammate Ed Davis, agreed to underperform and at times overperform. In the 2024 game between the Milwaukee Bucks and LA Clippers, the indictment says Beasley promised to grab more rebounds than the sportsbooks predicted, soaring in the final seconds to get it done. His co-defendants collecting thousands of dollars from their alleged insider bet.
That's ABC's Aaron Katursky. Early exit for Germany from the World Cup. They were beaten by Paraguay in penalty kicks. Bit of a surprise for the four-time World Cup champs, although the team also exited earlier from the 2022 contest. 31-year-old Joshua Kimmich apologizing last night to the team for failing to meet expectations, saying in his words, "We blew it." I'm Sherry Preston, ABC News.
It is 7:02, and we do have a few clouds in the region, but still sunshine downtown. It's already 80 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. St. Louis Police Chief Robert Tracy is reacting to this past weekend's 4 fatal shootings and several other shootings. Several were in downtown West, Walnut Park, Soulard, and at Gravois and Loughborough.
The shooting that forced St. Louis City SC to postpone a City 2 game and go into lockdown due to shots being fired at 17th and Chestnut at 3 people walking in downtown West. Chief Tracy explains where the investigation stands.
We believe someone in the group of the 3 returned fire at the shooter. That is a 20-year-old that was originally detained last night. Officers seized the firearm off of him. The 20-year-old has been released by detectives pending further investigation, and also had an ankle monitor from a previous case from the county.
A 22-year-old who was walking with the group was shot in the leg and showed up at a hospital. Tracy says a curfew went into effect Saturday night for the Grove, but not downtown. As of now, there is no curfew in place for July 4th, something Tracy would like to see. Maria Aquino, KMOX News.
A 10-year-old facing first-degree murder charges after allegedly shooting and killing a 7-month-old.
Will we ever know the full motivation of the 10-year-old? No, says John Davis, who has worked juvenile murder cases as a prosecutor, judge, and an attorney. He says the trial of the adult facing murder, second, and child endangerment charges will shed some light on the juvenile case, but not the full motivation for the juvenile to kill.
Not for public consumption, no. I can't imagine a scenario where that would happen, no.
However, he says the charge against the 10-year-old of murder in the first does shed light on the extent of the motivation.
First-degree murder in the state of Missouri requires a person to cause the death of another person, and I'm quoting the statute here, after deliberation upon the matter.
Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Every 4th of July, Kirkwood police say they get swamped with calls about illegal fireworks. Pinning down who's actually lighting them off has always been the hard part. So this year, the department is putting a drone on the case. Officer Gary Baldridge tells our Michael Calhoun what they've been up against.
In years past, would officers get this call, get the dispatch, and then have to drive around and try to figure out where it was being launched from and maybe not even be able to figure it out? And it seems like it would have been frustrating in the past to try to figure this out from on the ground.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of times several times where we just get an area, someone calls in from their residence and say, hey, they're coming from somewhere behind my house, and it's up to the officer to sit there and play, hide and seek with the fireworks shooters. And unless there's something in the air, we may not know who's shooting it.
The department says the drone is working with a live camera. Spotlight, even infrared can spot where the fireworks are coming from. Kirkwood has had the drone for years, but this is the first 4th. The police are sending it up for fireworks.
The next generation fighter jets are getting closer to beginning production as their assembly hangar comes together in St. Louis County. Senator Eric Schmidt says the project was almost entirely cut by the Biden administration.
2024 in the NDAA, there was an effort to zero out the next generation air defense or deterrence.
He says he pushed for the jet to be built in St. Louis when the Trump administration pushed for the jet's development.
Could additional tornado relief come to St. Louis with a bill to fund the war in Iran? Senator Schmidt said the bill to fund the war could be the vehicle to attach community development block grant relief funds.
Is there going to be a bill where you can get Republicans and Democrats to come together on that? I'm supportive of it. I talked to the mayor about it just last week. And so we're going to work as hard as we can to get something done there.
St. Louis has previously received the fund for other disasters, including over $82 million for the flood of 2022.
The Postmaster General says Missouri's mail is getting better, the delivery of it, and he's pushing back on Senator Josh Hawley for claiming otherwise. In a new letter, David Steiner laid out delivery numbers for the Kansas-Missouri district and wrote that Senator Hawley missed a meeting last fall where his team walked the delegation through the fixes. Steiner is responding to a recent hearing where Hawley told him to quit.
Frankly, if things don't get better, you ought to resign because you're not doing the job. You're leaving your good postal workers out there. You're hanging them out to dry. They don't make near what you do. They're working their butts off. They're getting blamed, and you're getting the bonus.
Steiner says for the week ending June 19th, nearly 87% of the district's first-class mail arrived on time. As for complaints about mail dumping, he calls it a criminal matter, now in the hands of the Postal Service Independent Inspector General.
The deadline to apply or reapply for the senior tax freeze in St. Louis County is today. However, if you're a senior in St. Charles County, you've been given a little more time. The St. Charles County Council unanimously passed an ordinance that gives seniors until midnight, July 6th to apply. They say that move will make up for a handful of days in June when their online portal wasn't working.
If you're in traffic northbound 270 between 44 and Manchester, Roger Brand will tell you what's going on next. It's 7:08.
Want to hear a shocking statistic? Medical malpractice is the 3rd leading cause of death in America. Don't believe it? Google it. And that doesn't count serious injuries like birth injuries to perfectly healthy children. All doctors wear white jackets, but it doesn't make them all the same. Most medical errors are committed by the same quacks over and over again. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Many hospitals looking for more profits are forcing doctors and their groups to be employees of the hospital or be forced out of their system. It's a troubling trend in medicine. People make mistakes, but medical mistakes are huge and often forever. If you believe your child suffered a birth injury or a misdiagnosis or mistake led to a loved one's death or injury, let our team of medical malpractice lawyers examine your case for free. No recovery, no fee. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
With summer here and the kids home full time, your garage door will see a lot more use. Do it a favor with annual maintenance from Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. The 26-point tune-up is one price for up to 3 garage doors and openers. Get them all done. Trusted in St. Louis for 100 years. Always look for the genuine, the original Red Ribbon of Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Since 1926, they're never going to steer you wrong. Schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
At Liberty Mutual, we love helping people with things like customizing car insurance, just like how we customize a song for you. Catered country tune. Liberty Mutual, saving you bucks by protecting your truck. Cause Birdie told me to only pay for what I need. Thank you, Limu. Always trusting Limu with Liberty, 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 Liberty.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
Roger Brands in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, the busiest stretch of highway right now, Tom, is northbound Highway 270. You know, we had that stall that was in the left lane, North 270, before the Clayton Road overpass. They moved it over to the, looks like the right shoulder, but I still see the right lanes backing up as they get up past it. So they may be partially blocking the right lane. I'm sort of looking at it through one of the overhead interstate signs. North 270 right now is slow approaching Gravois midway to 44, and then it backs up again before you get to Big Bend up through Doherty Ferry, and then there's just slow pockets up past that stall, like I said, just before the Clayton Road overpass. You look great out west, Highway 70, 64, southbound 61, everything coming in from the Wentzville split. Looks good coming up from the south, northbound 55 coming up to the Merrimack River. It's fine. On the Illinois side, we just have a couple of slow spots. Still some delays. Westbound 270 between 111 and 203, and this is the hour they're scheduled to be working 270 at 111 in that interchange. Various restrictions during the daytime hours now through Thursday at 3 p.m. and on eastbound 5570, seeing a little road work slow down right now east of 203 as well. Next update at 7:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It is 7:11 and it's just going to be stinking hot. It's already really hot out there. It is 80 degrees. Extreme heat warning in effect through 10 p.m. Friday, but it's going to feel like it's 105 or hotter every afternoon. Today's high, 99 degrees with mostly sunny skies. Tomorrow, 97, 96 on Thursday with a chance of a thunderstorm in spots. Right now, 80 degrees downtown.
From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, Missouri's plan to improve Interstate 70 is moving into its next phase, marking the 6th project in the statewide expansion. MoDOT says contractors are now competing for the stretch between Kingdom City and Warrenton. Improve I-70 Program Director Eric Kopinski says how those plans are carried out will be a key factor in choosing the winning bid.
Contract award, which is unique, which many other states don't do for their procurement methods, is we have part of the maintenance of traffic. So how is traffic going to handle? How are the impacts going to be? How long? How tight are some of the lane spacings? How do they get material to and from the site?
Kopinski tells Missouri Net the $583 million project would be one of MoDOT's largest ever. A contract is expected in November and construction possibly starting by spring 2027.
Miller's Grill in Washington, Missouri, settling a federal sexual harassment and retaliation lawsuit filed by the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. Miller's Grill and owner Larry Miller deny any wrongdoing, but will pay $25,000 and implement procedures to keep the harassment from happening again.
According to the EEOC, manager Lisa Kelly was subjected to fondling, lewd, and sexual comments, and Miller asking her for dates and sex. Kelly says Miller got increasingly angry about her ignoring those advances and would yell and berate her in front of customers and employees. Eventually, Miller stopped scheduling her for work.
The owner of more than 150 newspapers is now making a move into St. Louis radio. Hoffman family of companies announcing a deal to buy 6 Odyssey stations, including KMOX, pending FCC approval. Hoffman, in a statement, says the acquisition is the first step in a planned expansion into broadcast and that the company expects, quote, to become the second largest media company in the United States by year end.
After years of reported Six Flags company cutbacks, the CEO of Enchanted Park says he's spending big cash on getting the company's newly purchased parks, including St. Louis, up to snuff.
James Harhide told a large crowd at CoasterCon put on by the American Coaster Enthusiasts in a video posted to their Instagram that it's been expensive to get their new parks, which in addition to St. Louis also include Valley Fair and Michigan's Adventure, getting those parks up to their standards. That includes ride tune-ups and maintenance. And of course, people are wondering if Six Flags will force the new company to strip Bugs Bunny and Mr. Freeze out of the St. Louis park. Harhide says actually there's a St. Louis exception.
We'll probably end up with a long-term deal with them at St. Louis. We're able to do that as part of our transaction with Six Flags. We cannot expand WB to any other park because of the contract with Six Flags.
That St. Louis exception Harhide previously told KMOX about, but his optimism about a long-term deal is new. And another business deal could mean new characters showing up like Top Gun or Star Trek.
With the merger with Paramount, there's a lot of IP in that market now that we can turn around and potentially develop a relationship with WB Paramount.
He says come back in August to hear any plans for potential new rides. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
For the cut of the game, sponsored by the Diamond Shop, thediamondshop.net, we're going to play a cut from Sports on a Sunday Morning. This is Chaim Bloom, the Cardinals president of baseball operations, discussing tonight's starter, Matthew Liberatore. He has struggled for much of this season, opened the season as the opening day starter, but he has been anything but the top dog in this rotation. I asked Bloom about plans moving forward. And maybe I'm wrong, Chaim, but I think I'm right about this because I said it on the air earlier. Because a lot of people are like, just put him in the bullpen. Well, that would indicate to me that you don't see him as a starter anymore. If you just suddenly said, you know what, I don't think he can be a starter anymore, that's when you see him assume a bullpen role. Am I wrong about that? I would think that you would put him in Memphis as a starter before you would throw him into the bullpen.
Yeah, look, we certainly haven't talked about Memphis with him, but, I think to look at him and say that this guy cannot be a big league starter, I think we're just selling him and ourselves short. And we have to put our heads together and do everything we can to help him get back to a higher level of performance, because there are a lot of things there that lead you to think that he can do it, including some of the things we've seen from him in the past and even earlier this year. What we need to figure out is to try to figure out a way to stop the bleeding, stop those big innings. And, too often there's a pattern of, we're unable to finish hitters or finish the inning, and then it spins out on us. The last outing against Arizona was a perfect example of that. You go back and look at that. Obviously there was a soft hit in that inning, and then there was also, he had, if I recall correctly, he had Vargas 0-2, and then lost him, and that led to a big hit, and then before you know it, we've given up 6 runs. So these things do happen, but we got to find a way to minimize that they are happening. But it's not like he's just getting walloped wire to wire. There are things that appear to be adjustable, appear to be controllable. We have to find a way to get him there. And, he's the type of guy, because of those qualities you mentioned, that there is a higher ceiling than this there. There's always going to be competition in this game, to your point. None of us ever are on scholarship. He knows that. We all know that. But, for us to look at him and to say he can't do this, I think frankly, that's almost the easy way out, because he will unlock this at some point, and we got to make sure that we're doing everything we can to help him do that.
Chaim Bloom, who knows Matthew Liberatore well, he drafted him when Chaim was working with the Tampa Bay Rays. Much more from Sports on a Sunday Morning. If you want to listen to the full podcast, we had Chaim as well as former Cardinals president of baseball operations, John Mozeliak, now the interim GM with the Angels. The Cardinals are 7.5 out in the division. They are tied for the third wild card spot in the National League with the Marlins. Cards and Braves tonight, 6:15 on KMOX. We'll have the pregame at 5:20. 2 just stunning results from the World Cup last night. First, Paraguay, who struggled with the United States in the group stage, beat Germany 4-3 on penalties. That's the biggest upset so far in the World Cup. They move on and face the winner of Tuesday's match between France and Sweden, and that'll be in Philadelphia on Saturday. As for the Dutch, they were defeated. The Netherlands lost to Morocco last night as Morocco scored the decisive goal in a penalty shootout and sends the Netherlands to its earliest World Cup exit in 11 previous World Cups. the Netherlands had reached at least the round of 16. Brazil beat Japan in the other matchup yesterday to move on to the round of 16. I'm Tom Ackerman on the home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM KMOX.
Hi, this is Charlie Brennan. You know, when you go to the Audiology Center, you'll see a doctor of audiology. And with us right now, Dr. Colleen Bosler. Dr. Bosler, what are some of the signs of hearing loss?
Well, it's a number of things. Sometimes loved ones notice a person asking others to repeat themselves, or the television is too loud. What people tend to notice first with hearing loss is the loss of clarity. They can hear people talking, but they cannot always understand what's being said. That's because the hearing loss can cause you to miss certain consonant sounds, and those consonant sounds give us the detail to the word. A hearing aid can help bring back those details and give you a sense of clarity that you're missing.
Dr. Colleen Bosler at the Audiology Center with 3 locations in the greater St. Louis area. Call for an appointment, 636-441-7470. Online, theaudiologycenterstl.com.
Banner Construction has been around since 1993. Banner Construction in that time has gained a reputation as an elite James Hardie contractor. What that means is exactly what it sounds like, elite. When customers think of James Hardie siding and who's the best at putting it in, Pella Windows, not to mention, it would be Banner Construction. An elite contractor means a top-rated contractor selected by customers based on ratings, reviews, and reliability. They're proud to be a James Hardie elite contractor at Banner Construction, and they know that your home is one of the biggest investments you'll ever make. You want to eliminate costly, repetitive maintenance. What separates Banner from other contractors is the contractors who cut corners. That just means you're going to have to spend more to redo it. Believe me, Banner Construction is the best. They understand it might be appealing to find a high-end solution for a below-market price, but cutting corners can lead to devastating results. Go with Banner. BannerConstruction.com and have a banner day.
Total Information AM on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 7:21. Let's check in with Roger Brandt. He's got the latest on your ride in. Hopefully no issues, but he would know more. He is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we had an issue earlier, Debbie, on North 270 near the Clayton Road overpass. It was that stall that was in the left lane. Now I see EMS rolling coming up from Manchester, North 270. They were reporting a crash near the Clayton Road overpass or north of it. I see the original stall on the right shoulder there. There is an incident south 270 in that area, though, but again, it's on the shoulder as well. Right now, what North 270 is looking like is Tesson Ferry through Gravois is a backup at 44 briefly, and then it's slow Big Bend up through Clayton Road. So just a lot of volume, but I don't see anything blocking there currently. Other than that, westbound 64, McCausland headed out to Big Bend. That's a little heavy on the Illinois side. You caught a couple of delays. Eastbound 5570 from 203 headed through 111. Westbound 64, both sides at 159. Westbound 270 is a little slow, approaching 157, but between 111 and 203, it has thinned out. Next update at 7:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Is your financial advisor working more for your retirement or for his? Find out the real story behind the financial industry with Greg Ayler. Saturdays at 1 on Fire Your Financial Advisor.
Well, you could sum up this forecast in one word: hot. Extreme heat warning in effect through 10 o'clock Friday night. High 99 today. Tonight, low 78. Tomorrow's high 97. Real field temperatures at or over 105 each afternoon. It's already 80 downtown at the Arch.
A new local study wanted to find out whether the current COVID vaccines could be linked to any increase in adverse events in those who got them. KMOX health editor Fred Bottomer spoke with Dr. Zayad Al-Ali, a clinical researcher at WashU Medicine and the VA St. Louis healthcare system.
We've been hearing a lot about sort of that the COVID vaccines are associated with some adverse events. And we had some studies from the early phase of the pandemic showing really minimal risks. But then, vaccines themselves, Fred, have changed over the years. And so we asked, in the contemporary landscape, in today's world, do COVID vaccines cause any harm, or are they associated with any adverse events? So we went and cataloged the breadth of adverse events that are possible. There are 46 of them across many organ systems. And then we evaluated the risk of these adverse events with about 2.5 million people who took the COVID vaccines versus individuals who did not take the COVID vaccine. And then, so that really basically amounts to looking at all possible adverse events, leaving no stone unturned. What we found was actually quite reassuring that there was really no significant association between receiving the COVID vaccines and any of these 46 different adverse events. So what that really means for listeners is that, while generally speaking, all medications could have potentially adverse events, when we studied the last 3 seasons of the COVID vaccines, we did not really see any significant association between getting the COVID vaccine and any of those adverse events.
How did you do it?
So what we've done is that we assembled a cohort of about 2.5 million people from the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. So these are veterans who over the last 3 years gotten a COVID vaccine, and compared them to individuals in the same system who have similar characteristics but did not get the COVID vaccine. And then we followed these patients for an amount of time for about 90 days after they received the COVID vaccine, measuring and trying to look for adverse events. And then we defined adverse events as one of the 46 outcomes that untoward or adverse outcomes that can happen after the veteran or after that individual patient got their COVID vaccine. What we've seen in totality is that whenever we looked at any of these outcomes, there was no significant association between the COVID vaccine and the adverse events. When we looked at all of them in aggregate, we see literally null results, meaning that the recipients of the COVID vaccine did not have any more or less adverse events than those people who chose not to take it. The broader lesson to people is that there is a lot of talk out there that COVID vaccines maybe cause this or cause cancer or cause other things. When we actually looked in the data empirically, looked at the hard data, there was really no evidence of that. So for those people who are interested, coming this fall season, coming this respiratory season, we're already in July, and we're very, very close to July. We're already, and that season will be in a couple of months. Come the next respiratory season, if you're considering a vaccine, I think the studies are showing that there is really that vaccines remain safe in the contemporary landscape, even in the recent era. After many of us have been exposed to vaccines multiple times and have gotten COVID, arguably in more than one time, vaccines remain safe. When we measure them, we measure their effects in data.
What were some of those possible adverse events?
So we've looked at a lot of things, from strokes, heart attacks, inflammation of the brain, myocarditis, inflammation of the heart, myocarditis or inflammation of the heart, deep vein thrombosis, which is really clotting of the veins, Guillain-Barré syndrome, brain hemorrhage. We've looked at literally 46 different outcomes spanning the gamut, all the stuff that people sort of talk about and are concerned with when it comes to COVID vaccines. And we saw no effect or null effect, meaning that, people who are vaccinated versus people who didn't get vaccinated there was no difference between the two groups.
That is Dr. Ziad Al-Ali, clinical researcher at WashU and the VA St. Louis healthcare system, speaking with KMOX health editor Fred Bodimer.
It's 7:27. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Rev up your Cardinals wardrobe on Friday, July 10th when the Cardinals battle the Braves. That night, fans can shift into style with the Cardinals garage-style button-up presented by Brown & Crouppen. A retro-inspired look featuring detailed stitching and a classic patch for vintage game day vibes. It's available in medium and extra large while supplies last. Gear up and take this look for a spin. Get your tickets now at cardinals.com/promotions.
This is Dustin May. See you at Busch Stadium.
Sail on down for the inaugural Yacht Rock Night on Friday, July 10th, when the Cardinals take on the Braves. With the purchase of a special theme ticket, fans will take home an exclusive Cardinals captain's hat, perfect for smooth sailing all summer long. Don't miss a pregame concert by the Yacht Rockers on the Budweiser stage. Set the vibe and cruise into the weekend. Get your tickets now at cardinals.com/theme.
Hey guys, Glover here with my friend Stewie from Stewart's American Mortgage Corporation. Stewie, I think this is going to be a strange season for real estate. Just kind of feel it in my gut. What can people do apropos of their mortgage to put themselves in a better position to get that house?
You know what, Dave, that's a great question. There's a bidding wars that are going to happen this spring. You want to get the house. This is how you're going to make things better. Number one, we give you the power of the pre-approval letter. That means you can go into our portal and generate the letter and edit it for any amount you want up to the amount you're approved without chasing the loan officer. Number two, the bagel loan, no closing costs, no title fees, no lender fees, no appraisal fees. It's a bagel. Bagel looks like a zero, easy to remember. Add that money you would normally pay onto your bid and beat the other offers out. And you know what? The third thing is we can close fast. 10 days. They're going to look away at the other offers because most lenders take as much as 30 days to get done.
You can call or text Stewie at his personal cell phone, 314-324-4440, or you can Google the bagel loan, NMLS 226715.
When it comes to family law, a lot has changed in recent years, so assumptions can be costly. If you see or sense a change coming in your family life that could have legal implications, it's important to know where you stand. Getting good legal advice early is never a bad idea. I'm Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. If you or anyone you know is facing a family law issue, start with a consultation. Visit CordellCordell.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. 600 Kelwood, St. Louis.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2026 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aid.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
It is 7:30, and right now it's 80 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. Roger Brand, give us the latest. Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Tom, North 270 is definitely the busiest run. We've just got slow traffic in general, north of 55 up to 44, and then Marshall Road up through the Clayton Road overpass to 64. Southbound Olive de Ladue is just a little slow. It's a lot better going southbound than northbound. We had a couple of earlier incidents. It looks like they're all out of the way, although I still see some flashing lights on the shoulder from that earlier stall right near the Clayton Road overpass. Eastbound 70 passing 64 is a little slow, and approaching 370 is a little busy. Eastbound 64 slow from 170 through Hanley. Westbound 64 Hampton out to Big Bend. There's some slow traffic there as well. Westbound 64 west of 50 through 159, we got delays. And you've got backed up traffic both directions. Looks like we have an incident on 5570 near 203. Eastbound is jammed from that point. But it's slow just east of there into 111, and westbound jams at 111 all the way up to 203. So it looks like the crash is westbound, but backed up traffic both ways in that construction zone. And then also delays westbound 270 between 159 and 157. Next update is 740 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It's just going to be really hot all week long and at least through the weekend. Extreme heat warning in effect through 10 p.m. Friday. It's going to feel every day like it's 105 or hotter in the afternoon. Today's high, 99 degrees with mostly sunny skies. It is currently 80 downtown.
Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe is expected to act on the $50.7 billion state budget lawmakers passed. The move comes as the next fiscal year begins tomorrow. However, the governor tells reporters Missouri has a spending problem.
We have a spending problem, and business people understand, households understand that when you're bringing in sufficient revenue, but you're spending more than you're bringing in, you have to make some tough decisions, and we'll work with that. I'm going to have a call with legislative leaders.
Governor Kehoe says he will meet with legislative leaders to talk about what a responsible plan is for Missourians, but Kehoe cautions not everyone is going to be happy, and he says he understands that.
Kirkwood police deploying a drone this 4th of July to track down illegal fireworks. They're going to be flying it over neighborhoods, trying to keep up with the flood of complaints. So how does an aircraft end up on fireworks duty? KMOX's Michael Calhoun asked Kirkwood officer Gary Baldridge.
Is this something that's a new addition to the tools that you have? Or was it something that was previously in the stable, but this was the year that you figured out this would be a good application for it?
Yeah, we've had our drone now for several years, and every year, every week, every month, we come up with new ideas on what we can use it for. And we're a very proactive police department. We like to try things out. And if it works, great. We'll add it to our repertoire of things to do again. If we find that it wasn't advantageous and it was a waste of time, then we're not going to do it again. But we certainly do believe in trying things out and, seeing what happens.
If you want to enjoy fireworks, Kirkwood is holding its own professional show at Kirkwood Park on the 4th. Setting off your own is illegal anywhere in St. Louis County.
Able Light is coming to St. Peter's. The Wisconsin-based nonprofit is opening its first Missouri thrift store location on Mexico Road in what used to be Advanced Auto Parts. The 8,000 square foot store is expected to employ 10 to 15 people. Able Light provides services to adults with developmental disabilities.
The news sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. It's 7:34, your Money Minute next.
All access with Ollie Marble on the Gas House Gang.
I show up every day looking forward to what's next for this group. This group fits my personality to a T. I love what we're doing. I love how we're going about it. I love the honest conversations. I love the grit. And there's been certain times where I've caught myself where bases are loaded, our backs up against the wall, and I can't help but smile. I show up every day looking forward to what's next for this group.
Ollie Marble, Tuesdays at noon on KMOX.
I'm Piera Palazzolo, VP of Digital Marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide. Our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WebNow1 for a free digital consultation with AmericanEagle.com.
It is 7:36. Let's get you updated on your money report from Bloomberg. It is sponsored by Busey Bank.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Warren Buffett has decided to skip his mid-year donations to the Gates Foundation for the first time in 2 decades. According to the Wall Street Journal, the billionaire is waiting for the results of a review into the organization's links to Jeffrey Epstein. Buffett started making massive donations to Bill Gates' foundation starting in 2006. Sources say Buffett may wait until Thanksgiving to decide about making a gift. Turning to trading, stocks are rising on this final trading day of June, and the S&P 500 is on track for its best quarter in 6 years. Stock futures are looking at modest gains this morning. And WhatsApp is allowing folks to reserve a username for their account for the first time. Usernames mean people have more control over who can see their phone number, especially when interacting with new contacts or joining a group conversation. People can reserve a username now, and Meta plans for them to become operational later this year. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
This is the take care of my family goal. This is the enjoy the life I've built goal. This is the set up a foundation goal. This is Busey, where your goals become lasting legacies. Through bespoke plans that maximize your wealth, through partnerships that give you peace of mind. Because building wealth, tending to it, and passing it down secures a brighter future. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868. Member FDIC.
If you are looking for a place for independent living for older adults, the place is Fairwinds River's Edge in St. Charles. It was voted U.S. News and World Report's best independent living for 5 consecutive years. They have social events for the residents there, wellness programs. Just go to fairwindsriversedge.com. Schedule a tour and hear about all of the great new updated spaces, all the dining, the social events, the best. fairwindsriversedge.com.
I built this business the old-fashioned way. Hard work and a whole lot of spreadsheets.
Yeah, about that, I upgraded us to Odoo. Odoo puts everything we need, sales, inventory, accounting, on one connected platform. No more juggling systems, no more headaches.
So it all works together?
Exactly.
Odoo is the all-in-one business software that makes running and passing on a business easier than ever.
Take your business into the next generation. Try Odoo free at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Pros, save more on what you need to get the job done right now at Lowe's. Get 15% off select custom entry and interior doors. Plus, save $80 on the DeWalt 20-volt Max 2-tool combo kit, now just $169. And at the Lowe's Pro Desk, bring us your materials list and get a quote in minutes. Handwritten, a photo, or even a sticky note is all you need. Keep your jobs moving faster and on budget at Lowe's. Valid through 7/8 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
It's time to slide into a deal with Seidenstricker Nobe Partners. Right now, catch 0% financing for 84 months on a John Deere 1025R compact tractor package for as low as $269 a month. This one machine is built to do it all. Mow, move, dig, and clear with ease. Don't wait. This offer ends June 30th. Slide into a deal today at Seidenstricker Nobe Partners, snpartners.com.
Offer valid through 6/30/2026. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
Staples presents Celebrations Made Easy.
I was throwing a party for the twins and had custom invites and a banner printed at Staples. And that's when I saw Party City is now at Staples.
Party City? No way.
So now Staples has all your printing needs and everything you need for a party.
Everything times 2.
And now at Staples, save 25% on all custom banners.
Party City is now at Staples.
That was easy.
Shop Staples in-store, online, or on the app. Some banners available same day when ordered by 12 p.m. Ins 8/1 exclusions apply.
This is the Gas House Gang from KMOX.
Bernie Nicholas and the Gas House Gang, today at noon on America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
Let's get you caught up on traffic and weather. It looks like a beautiful day out the window, sunshine, but it's already really sticky and hot. We'll get more details on that in just a moment. Right now, your ride in from Roger Brand and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
We got jam traffic on 5570 right now, Debbie. Both directions, eastbound from 203, jams briefly, but then it's slow all the way past 111, midway over between 111 and 255. But the westbound side jams at that same point. So midway between Black Lane and 111 into 203, we've had a crash there. So obviously the westbound side is worse, but roadwork's delaying you in both directions through there. Pretty solid backup. Westbound 6450 through 159, you've also got delays on the Illinois side. On the Missouri side, the biggest heavy stretch is North 270. Tesson Ferry through Gravois, slow. 44 up to Big Bend is heavy. Then it jams from there to Manchester, remains busy up through the Clayton Road overpass. South 270, south of 364 down to Ladue is off the pace. Southbound 61, Wensfield Parkway down to that eastbound 70 ramp is heavy. 64 from Chesterfield Parkway west to Timberlake, you got delays. And McKnight into Big Bend. South 170 bogs down to the Parkway. Westbound 64, Hampton through Big Bend is busy right now as well. Next update at 7:50 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Brought to you by Liberty Mutual Insurance.
Liberty, 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 liberty. Brought to you by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Why pay full insurance when you can customize and save? Switch to Liberty Mutual and they'll customize your auto and home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. Find some shade if you're outside, and if you don't have to be outside, find air conditioning.
And if you're going to be outside for any length of time, that even being 5 minutes, make sure you have a bottle of water handy. Stay hydrated in this kind of heat, Tom, because it is going to be brutal stuff. The worst of it today and tomorrow, but it doesn't really back off an awful lot in the coming days. We've got an extreme heat warning through 10 p.m. Friday, and even on Independence Day, it looks like it's still going to be in the 90s. Sunshine today up to 99 and clear, warm, muggy tonight, those 78. Mostly sunny tomorrow, hot and humid, high 97. Hazy sun and some clouds on Thursday, hot and very humid. Maybe an afternoon thunderstorm will pop up, the high 96. A little better chance for that thunderstorm risk on Friday with sun and clouds, are high in the mid-90s. Mid-90s again on Independence Day with a continued risk of a thunderstorm. Already 80 at St. Peter's and in Florissant, 81 with sunshine and a real feel of 84 downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
All right, thanks, Joe. It's 7:42, and the death toll in Venezuela has climbed to 1,719. According to Venezuelan lawmaker Jorge Rodriguez, he says another 5,000 people at least have been injured. Responders still undertaking rescue operations, searching for people thought to be under the rubble. ABC News chief international correspondent James Longman.
Diana managed to keep her 18-day-old son Juan David alive for 30 hours under the rubble. Rescuers managed to get water to Juan David by sliding a straw through a pipe down through the rubble. The one who gave me the strength not to fall into despair, she says, was my son. I kept saying, as long as he was alive, I was going to be alive. When the earthquake hit, their 8th-floor apartment fell out from beneath their feet. She had Juan David on her chest as the building fell around her.
President Donald Trump downplayed the importance of the bipartisan housing bill passed last week and put in limbo by his demand that Congress pass the SAVE Act for election reform before he signs it. In the Oval Office yesterday, the president told reporters he is prioritizing election reform over the popular housing bill.
Here's what I would like to sign. Much more than a bill, that big deal. It's a yawn. Some people say it's wonderful. To me, compared to the Save America Act, just about everything is a big yawn.
The U.S. Supreme Court has rejected President Trump's attempt to overturn a defamation case against him, won by a woman who says Trump sexually assaulted her. ABC News national correspondent Stephen Portnoy.
The High Court didn't explain its decision. It simply issued an order denying President Trump's appeal of the $5 million defamation award the federal court issued to writer E. Jean Carroll in 2022. That stemming from what Trump said about an earlier case Carroll brought in which Trump was found liable for sexual assault. The president denies he committed any offense, but the High Court's ruling means the defamation judgment stands, and he will have to pay.
Well, you heard Chaim Bloom, the Cardinals president of baseball operations, talking about Matthew Liberatore in the last sportscast. Libby is the starter tonight for the Cardinals against the Atlanta Braves. The Cardinals starter 3-5 with a 5.56 ERA. He's been frustrated, and he also says he is hungry to turn things around. The Cardinals are staying with their lefty who opened the season as their number one starter, but he has slipped significantly since then. On the other side of things, Martin Perez is the starter for the Atlanta Braves. He is a lefty as well. The Cardinals will stack some righties, you would imagine. We'll see. We'll see if we can get a clue from Ollie Marmol. He joins us today on the Gas House Gang at noon. Very popular show right now, both in podcast form and live. It's at noon every Tuesday with Ollie Marmol, but it airs every day during the week, Monday through Friday. Today, Chris Ranji, Bernie Miklas, Ollie Marmol, and me entertaining you, taking your questions and comments about the Cardinals, who are the third wildcard team in the National League at the moment. They're 7.5 out in the division, but they are the number 3 wildcard team, and it's a huge week for them. They play 3 at Atlanta, and then this weekend, 3 games at Wrigley Field for the 4th of July. How about the fireworks last night in the World Cup? Are you kidding me? Unbelievable turn of events there. First of all, it was a win for Brazil. They beat Japan, but Germany was upset by Paraguay, the team that was dominated by the United States in the first group stage game. And on top of that, the Netherlands lost to Morocco last night. So those were the results moving on to the round of 16. It'll be the top 50 players in the FedEx Cup playoffs coming to St. Louis in August 18th through the 23rd, the BMW Championship at Belle Reef Country Club. They opened things up with Governor Mike Kehoe at the press conference yesterday. The governor was the MC, basically, opening up everything and giving the opening address at Belle Reef. And then following him was Senior Vice President of Tournaments, Vince Pellegrino of the Western Golf Association, talking to KMOX later about the top 50.
Yeah, I mean, all the great names, really. I mean, Rory McIlroy's up there, Cameron Young, Victor Hovland, who just, won the Travelers in a playoff against Scotty. You're going to see the biggest names in golf here. There's not going to be too many that are going to be outside that top 50, so it's a really good number. We're going to go off the first tee, so it's really cool to see all players go off one tee all 4 days. And have the best 50 players in the game.
And how about this? The 2,200 volunteer positions are all filled, and they filled in 3 days. Plus, all hospitality on the golf course is sold out. There are still tickets available for the BMW Championship, one of the biggest stops on the PGA Tour. Meanwhile, Hovland, as Vince mentioned right there, needed only one hole to beat Scotty Scheffler in a playoff at the Travelers Championship yesterday. They were tied Sunday night after Scheffler made a clutch 8-footer for par to force extra holes, but it was too dark to keep going. So they started yesterday morning. Hovland hit his approach to 6 feet on the 18th in the playoff hole after Scheffler had stuffed his shot into 4 feet. Hovland curled in his birdie putt. Scheffler missed on the high side of the cup. It's Hovland's first win since March 2025, and Scheffler, the number one player in the world, now has 4 runner-up finishes since he won to start the season. Ins and Outs, sponsored by Innsbruck Resort, where every day is the weekend. What a great place to play golf. Go give my friend Kevin Korn a call. He's the pro at Innsbruck. He'll get you all set up. You do not have to own or rent at Innsbruck to play golf. Innsbruck is a public golf course and a fantastic golf course, if I may add. Plus, it has stunning views of all of the great homes in that part of Innsbruck. There's 7,500 acres, so this is just one area of Innsbruck where the golf course is located. But you'll start to see some of these homes on the water, and your mind will start turning a little bit. Maybe this would be a good vacation spot for us. I would say 100% it is. It's located not far from St. Louis, 45 minutes from our house in central St. Louis County, about a half hour from Chesterfield, an hour from downtown. It's right off the Wright City exit in Warren County. It is Innsbruck, innsbruck-resort.com. Now for the parlay of the day, sponsored by Circus Sports, sports betting the way it should be. Well, I come to you with my tail between my legs because I gave you the Knicks, and I tried to replicate it with the Netherlands. The Knicks, I said for months, are going to win the NBA title, and I was right. I was wrong about the Netherlands. They just could not get it done. They lost, as I just mentioned, to Morocco in stunning fashion on penalty kicks. So now we look at the next best play. I got to say Spain at plus 700, don't you think? I mean, they are loaded with talent. Plus 700 puts them at third best in terms of odds. France is down to plus 250. That doesn't seem like the best value, although it is a good comfort pick if you want that, because most people think France is going to win. Argentina plus 370. I do like Spain at plus 700. Parlay of the day, sponsored by Circus Sports, sports betting the way it should be.
America is turning 250 this year, and Circus Sports is celebrating by offering all users in Missouri $250. For everyone in Missouri, all you have to do is deposit $250 on your Circus Sports app, then play through that deposit. Once you do, Circus Sports will reward you with $250 right in your account. This is available for everyone in Missouri, new and existing users. Celebrate 250 years and find out more at circusports.com today. Must be 21 or older and in Missouri. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Get ready for a night back with legendary hits and non-stop energy. Brian Adams is bringing the Roll with a Bunches tour to Enterprise Center Friday, July 24th.
Hello, this is Brian Adams.
Say along to the classics as Brian Adams delivers an unforgettable night of rock anthems. Plus, special guests Pat Benatar and Neil Girardo. Brian Adams, July 24th. For more info, KMOX.com/events.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM, KMOX. Total Information AM, Debbie Monterrey, Megan Lynch, Tom Ackerman on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
7:52. Here's Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
We're still backed up both ways on 5570 at Metro East, Debbie. Eastbound begins at 203, jammed not quite midway into 111, but it's slow into that area. And westbound approaching 111 is a solid jam almost all the way into 203. Again, we had an incident there, westbound and eastbound. Between that and the road work is why you're backed up. Otherwise, westbound 64, just west of 50 through 159 is heavy. Hampton headed out through Hanley is slow. And again, Lindbergh headed out to Ballas is kind of busy. Southbound 61, Wentzville Parkway into 64 at Highway A. That's backed up. Eastbound 64 coming out of the valley through the Chesterfield Parkways is slow. And again, east of Lindbergh through the Inner Belt. The Inner Belt bogs down at Ladue. South 270 364 to Ladue, slow north 270, slow north of Gravois, stop and go pockets 44 up to about Manchester, but still busy up through Clayton Road, and eastbound 70 east of the Blanchard into 270. There's some heavier volume. Also south 170 is a little busy between Natural Bridge and the Rock Road. Next update is 7:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Boy, it's hot, Roger, no doubt about it. Extreme heat warning in effect through 10 o'clock Friday night. So all week we have this 99 today, low 78 tonight, 97 for the high tomorrow. Currently, we're already in the 80s. It is 82 degrees at 7:53 a.m. downtown at the Arch.
Well, speaking of that heat, the dangerous effects of this kind of heat are cumulative, meaning you think you're doing okay, and then it starts to take its toll. That's why Cool Down St. Louis wants you to know they are here to help.
Whether disabled, elderly, poor, or people living paycheck to paycheck. Already on Sunday, an elderly woman had to be helped by St. Louis firefighters because the temperature in her home was at 90 degrees.
Because many of these seniors, I don't know what this case is, they are independent. They don't feel they need the heat. They think they can beat the heat. You cannot beat the heat. And what happens is they think a fan is going to be durable. A fan is never durable without having a cooling system.
Now, if you are in need of an air conditioner, Cool Down works with several agencies and can provide and even install it for you. Cool Down also provides utility assistance. They are already seeing a substantial increase in needs for service. For help, go to cooldownstlewis.org. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
Now, a few tips on how to help your system run smoothly.
As temperatures soar into the 90s and the heat index climbs above 100, your air conditioner will be working overtime. The good news is there are several things you can do to optimize the performance of your AC system.
And they're the kind of things that if you're a do-it-yourselfer are relatively easy to do.
Bill Hutzel is a professor of mechanical engineering technology at Purdue University. He says the first thing to remember is that an air conditioner is moving energy from inside your house to the outside.
And you want to make that pathway as unobstructed as possible. So one practical tip is to make sure your air filters inside your house are clean so that energy can move.
Hutzel says one of the most common misconceptions is that it's more efficient to turn off your air conditioner when you're not home, but he says it has the opposite effect and ends up taking up more energy to cool things down. Rachel Pearson, News Radio, 105.9 WBBM.
A urologist who accused SSM Medical Group of firing her in retaliation for complaints about unequal pay and substandard care was awarded almost $7 million by a federal jury. Dr. Deborah Lascola filed her lawsuit against SSM and SLU in April of 2024.
She was hired in 2019, but says she was paid less than her male colleagues and was fired for complaining about that and reporting a male colleague whom she says gave a patient who died substandard care. She said that doctor swore and berated her in an operating room, and SSM didn't properly investigate her complaints. SSM's attorney says they're disappointed with the verdict and will appeal if necessary.
A new Dunkin' is coming to the Central West End. Construction underway on Forest Park Avenue in the location that was previously occupied by American Cleaners Dry Cleaning.
It's 7:56.
Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Let's talk trees for a moment. Gamma Tree Experts, gammatree.com. You know, your trees deserve the best care, and they will get that from Gamma Tree Experts. We assure you of that over at Gamma. I've been working with them for a long time. Tim and Tom Gamma, they know their stuff. Gamma Tree Experts is a St. Louis tree service. That's important. They understand St. Louis, and they understand trees better than anyone. They've provided high-quality tree and shrub care since 1954 at Gamma. Family-owned and operated, known for quality, known for integrity. You know, customers like professionalism. It's pretty simple. Good customer service goes a long way. They don't just take care of trees. They take care of people. Their responsiveness. They like doing business, customers do, with a company where quality is of prime importance, and you have the best of the best experts. Their arborists are passionate about trees. They understand how much your trees mean to you. They have the knowledge and technical experience to provide the utmost in tree care. They are Gamma Tree Experts, board-certified master arborists, horticulturists, urban foresters. Check them out online at gammatree.com. Since 1954, Gamma Tree Experts. Your trees deserve the best care.
At Uline, the prevailing opinion is if you don't live it,
You don't believe it. The people at Uline believe in hard work, and they live it by being there 24/7 to answer your call, having 41,000 items in stock, and offering same-day shipping from 12 locations across North America. Business owners, sellers, buyers, shippers, and packers believe it. Uline is the hard-working, dependable source for your shipping and industrial supplies. Visit uline.com.
Back to school starts now. Get long-lasting battery life on the Dell XPS laptop powered by Series 3 Intel Core so you can work from anywhere. Now starting at $699 with exclusive student pricing starting at $599. Complete your setup with savings on select monitors and must-have electronics and accessories. Limited time deals and free shipping on PCs and more await you at Dell.com/deals. That's Dell.com/deals.
Liberty Mutual customize this song for you. Like your car insurance, it's custom too, yeah. Liberty Mutual's got the coverage that could save you money. Thanks to Doug and Limu, well now you can go and take that cruise. Liberty, 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 yeah.
Here is Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Debbie, westbound 5570 still has a backup approaching 111 most of the way into 203, and eastbound's jam 203 midway into 111. Busy both ways. We had a crash, and then, of course, that's a construction zone. Westbound 64, brief delay at 159, and then west of 3rd Street to the Poplar is slow. Westbound 64 on the Missouri side from Hampton headed out through almost Hanley's pretty busy. Between Spady and Ballas, it's a little slow. Eastbound 64, the bulk of the volume is east of Lindbergh into about Big Bend. South 170 off the pace from Natural Bridge to the Rock Road. And then there's a couple of pockets from Delmar to 64 where it's slow. Southbound 270, 364 to Ladue is crowded. North 270 bogs down north of Gravois all the way up to about Clayton Road, and then it picks up the pace. Southbound 61 got on to eastbound 70, slow at 70, heavy between the Blanchette and 270. Next update at 8:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
The trusted voice of St. Louis. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. Around 160 million Americans are under some sort of heat advisory, with alerts up from Kansas to Maine as hot weather steams in. In the West, there is still a very real fire danger from dozens of wildfires burning across 9 states. We're also learning more about the 3 firefighters killed when they were trapped along the Utah-Colorado border.
With new blazes exploding by the day, prompting evacuations. New details about the 3 firefighters killed in the line of duty. The U.S. Forest Service says 38-year-old Emily Barker, 27-year-old Nick Hutcherson, and 27-year-old Sydney Watson forced to use their emergency fire shelters when they became trapped in flames.
ABC's Melissa Adon. The Supreme Court wraps up its term this morning with decisions on trans girls in sports and President Trump's order limiting birthright citizenship. The death toll in the Venezuela earthquakes now more than 1,700 people as the search continues through ruined buildings. This is ABC News. Police say an 18-year-old autistic man was kidnapped during a carjacking at a Charlotte, North Carolina gas station. The story from ABC's Hannah Patah.
Police say 18-year-old Griffin Hare had stopped for gas in Charlotte when a woman got into his Mini Cooper and drove away, with Griffin still inside. I'm scared! Griffin's father says he was on the phone with his son and heard panic in his voice and a woman yelling in the background before the call suddenly dropped.
One of the scariest things that you can imagine happening, and it is our worst fears come to life.
Griffin then jumped from the car into traffic to escape. Officers then moving in, taking the woman, identified as 44-year-old Amanda Gillis, into custody.
Millions of older adults could soon be qualifying for popular GLP-1 weight loss drugs such as Wegovy and Zepbound under a Medicare pilot program. Those who qualify based on weight and health criteria would pay $50 a month, and Medicare would pick up the rest of the cost. I'm Sherry Preston, ABC News.
At 8:02, we have sunny skies, 80 degrees downtown at the Arch. Today is Tuesday, June 30th. I'm Megan Lynch. Kirkwood Police bringing a new tool to the fight against illegal fireworks this 4th of July, a drone. It's the first year the department's flying one over neighborhoods to investigate holiday firework complaints, and it comes with a feature people might not see coming, but they'll hear it KMOX's Michael Calhoun asked Kirkwood Police spokesman Officer Gary Baldridge.
What are some of the interesting or unique features about this? For instance, I heard that it has a loudspeaker on it.
Correct. Yeah. So our drone, it has a loudspeaker. We have a spotlight. So along with all the other bells and whistles that it has a live camera feed. We're able to record. Also has infrared technology. Really, the list goes on and on. But our loudspeaker, we're going to utilize, we have a pre-recorded message that in the event we make contact with anyone who is illegally discharging fireworks, which by itself is illegal, we'll be able to play the message.
That recorded message is a warning to stop and that an officer may follow up in person. One thing that the drone cannot do, Officer Baldridge tells us, it cannot hand out a ticket from the air. Boeing inching closer to completing the hangar where America's latest fighter jets will roll off the assembly line.
U.S. Senator Eric Schmidt is celebrating progress in the construction of the Boeing hangar where the next generation of American fighter jets will be assembled. Schmidt says these jets are needed along with more military buildup because of the growing threat of China's military.
China has a bigger Navy than we have right now. Not a better Navy, but a bigger Navy. Their shipyards outproduce ours by like, it's not even close. And so I'm supportive of that to revitalize our industrial base.
Schmidt criticized the Biden administration for attempting to strip the next generation fighter jets from the national defense budget. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Could additional tornado relief come to St. Louis with a bill to fund the war in Iran? U.S. Senator Eric Schmidt said the bill to fund the war could be the vehicle to attach community development and block grant relief funds.
Is there going to be a bill where you can get Republicans and Democrats to come together on that? I'm supportive of it. I talked to the mayor about it just last week. And so we're going to work as hard as we can to get something done there.
St. Louis has previously received the fund for other disasters, including more than $82 million for the flood of 2022. The U.S. Postmaster General firing back at Missouri's U.S. Senator Josh Hawley after a blistering hearing. David Steiner wrote to Hawley disputing his complaints about Missouri mail. Steiner says the Postal Service has no record of the letters Hawley claimed he sent about mail dumping and that issues are now with the agency's independent watchdog. At that hearing, Hawley had gone after Steiner's own pay.
The postmaster generals of this country in the last 10 years have gotten bonuses over $2 million. You got a bonus last year, $305,781. Why? Why are you getting bonuses when my constituents can't get the mail?
Steiner's letter never mentions the bonuses. Instead, Steiner ends on a personal note telling Hawley his mother raised him to treat people with decorum and that he'll expect the same from the senator here on out. Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe expected to act on the $50.7 billion state budget lawmakers have passed. The move comes as the next fiscal year begins tomorrow. However, the governor tells reporters Missouri has a spending problem.
We have a spending problem, and business people understand, households understand that when you're bringing in sufficient revenue, but you're spending more than you're bringing in, you have to make some tough decisions, and we'll work with that. I'm going to have a call with legislative leaders.
Governor Kehoe says he will meet with legislative leaders to talk about what a responsible plan is for Missourians, but he cautions not everyone is going to be happy, and he says he understands. The deadline to apply or reapply for the senior tax freeze in St. Louis County is today. However, if you're a senior in St. Charles, you've been given a little more time. The St. Charles County Council unanimously passed an ordinance that gives seniors until midnight July 6th to apply. They say the move is to make up for a handful of days in June when the online portal was not working. The extreme heat exacerbating an already difficult situation for people trying to make ends meet, including rising utility costs, food, and gasoline.
But there is a beacon in the dark for the elderly, disabled, the poor, and people living paycheck to paycheck. It's Cool Down St. Louis. KMOX talked with founder Gentry Trotter.
Checking on your neighbors is critically important. So you need to make sure that you check on them, feel them, touch them. And if they're having any problems during this awful heat, then what you need to do is get in touch with, first of all, before you send them to 911, before you send them 911, hopefully they can be remedied, which the fire departments are good at doing and stabilizing them.
And that's just what happened on Sunday. St. Louis firefighters responded to a medical emergency and found an elderly woman in her home. It was 90 degrees. If you need assistance, cooldownstlewis.org. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
We'll check that forecast coming up along with traffic in 2 minutes. It's 8:08.
When it comes to your health, having knowledge is powerful, as they say. And so if you could better understand what your risk was for chronic disease before you even have that first symptom, how powerful would that be? Siteman Cancer Center's Your Disease Risk, and that's what it's called, Your Disease Risk, provides personalized insights to help you understand factors that might increase or decrease your risk for chronic disease and cancer, whether that is environmental, whether it is genetic. With easy to understand information and prevention guidance, Siteman will help you take those meaningful steps toward a healthier future. Just a few minutes today could make a difference for years to come. Siteman.washu.edu/YDR. Siteman.washu.edu/YDR.
Well, I'm sure you're aware, I guess you could all imagine that not only are we busy, but other reputable companies are also just as busy, if not busier, and it's only going to get worse. So if you know, I know this is tough, but if your system has not been keeping up with your house for just not this year, but last year, the year before, and even the year before that, if you want to quit doing it and just get it done, just call me, Bart Inman, and it's one easy number, the easiest of numbers that sometimes I forget. So write it down. 314-293-2600, Missouri and Illinois, or on the internet, bartinman.com. That is Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Debbie Monterrey, Megan Lynch, Tom Ackerman. Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
810 doesn't look too bad on the roads, but let's get the latest from Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, the only place we've had some backed up traffic still jamming. It's not as bad, Megan, but still delays 5570, both directions between 203 and a point east of 111, backed up into that area just east of 203. We have roadwork and an incident that was blocking a traffic lane initially there. North 270, just a little slow north of Gravois. The bulk of the volume now is north of 44 up to about the Clayton Road overpass. South 270 approaching Olive down to Ladue. That's the busiest part. Eastbound 70, still slow east of the Blanchard into 270, 64. Call it west of McKnight to Big Bend, I guess, is the heaviest part. South 170 delays at the Parkway. Westbound 64 Hampton, most of the way out to Hanley's pretty slow right now as well. Next update at 8:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
An extreme heat warning is in effect through 10 p.m. Friday with AccuWeather. Real field temperatures likely to exceed 105 each afternoon. Mostly sunny today with sweltering heat, the high 99. A warm, muggy night ahead under clear skies, low 78. Hazy sun, hot and humid tomorrow, high 97. Thursday, hazy sun and some clouds, hot and very humid with a chance of an afternoon thunderstorm, high 96. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
We have sunny skies this morning, 81 degrees both in Florissant and St. Peters, 80 downtown at the Arch. This is Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX. In feature articles over the years, developer Amos Harris has been called a true believer and a downtown defender. Harris raised his children in a multi-level loft at the top of one of his downtown St. Louis properties. But earlier this year, an institution he helped get off the ground, the National Blues Museum on Washington Avenue, closed its doors. The board of directors blamed the closure on a steep drop in pedestrian traffic and a challenging economic climate downtown. I reached out to Harris to talk about the museum, but over the course of a 40-minute walk from that loft through downtown, I learned more about his frustration with downtown planning efforts and heard his ideas for how the city's core could stage a comeback.
The residents experience downtown on a kind of a more 24/7 basis. And the thing that ties them all together is that street level experience with the restaurants, the retail, and just the experience of being on the street. And that has deteriorated the most. And because of that deterioration and the experience of walking on the street, you know, with the abundance of crime, started to pop up after COVID and has since gotten much better, but the sort of shadows of that linger. St. Louis has not recovered from COVID anything like most of its peer cities, and where most of what we now think of as our peer cities, St. Louis was head and shoulders above those cities 20 years ago. We're now lagging. Cities like Indianapolis, Kansas City, all of those cities are ahead of us. And largely because the experience of being in the downtown of those cities paid attention to the experience of being downtown, and we have not.
Harris isn't discounting investments and other development in the city, but says many target visitors and tourists, not day-to-day users of downtown.
Let's walk a little bit.
He points out that before the pandemic, there were multiple entities hosting at least 250 to 300 events a year. Harris suggests the merger of Civic Progress, Downtown STL, and others into Greater St. Louis Inc. stalled momentum in the urban core.
And downtown is, all downtowns are both unique in the sense that they're different from each other, but they're also unique in the sense that they're different from the rest of the region. And they're different because they have a variety of different asset classes, office, residential, retail, in a density that, isn't true anywhere else in the region. And so figuring out how to foster all that stuff together is more challenging in a downtown than it is elsewhere.
We stopped in front of the historic Railway Exchange building, thought to be a candidate for a residential conversion.
And adding, however you would do it, but plus or minus 600 units to the market right now, that's hard to imagine given the weakness of the residential market today. And again, in my opinion, that's a lot because there hasn't been that attention to making downtown feel like a city. That density and vibrancy that attracts particularly young people doesn't exist in downtown. Here we are in the middle of a workday, and there's one person on the sidewalk.
In the fight to attract young people to downtown living, Harris says jobs are only a piece of the puzzle. It's vibrancy and density he believes that will attract them, and Harris contends it doesn't have to happen on a grand scale at first.
And the interesting thing to me about density and vibrancy in a downtown is you don't need a large geographic area to be dense and vibrant. In Nashville, maybe 10 or 15 years ago, it was just that 3 blocks along Broadway. In Kansas City right now, it's just that area right around the Power and Light District. You need to pick a small area strategically, light it up, and make it active. And if you can get there needs to be sort of a critical mass. 2 or 3 blocks, I think, is a good number amount to start with, because in a small area you can control the experience obviously much easier in a small area than you can in a big area. So if you take you want to light up Keener Plaza, for instance, and doing an event in Keener Plaza, you got to kind of fill it up to make it. You don't want to have a small party in a big room. So those events are 25,000, 30,000 a pop, where you take a smaller venue like this. If we took the US Bank Plaza as a sort of a central hub for events, you could light this venue up for 2,500, 3,000 a pop. You could have food and beverage. You could do some cool things. And the nice thing about that scale is that you can try and fail.
Who needs to do that? I mean, who's going to do that? Who's going to be the catalyst?
So
that's the person driving that.
That's the issue. Is downtown has no entity that just wakes up every day and thinks about downtown and thinks about it strategically. So that's what has to happen. Is that there are several entities that are sort of nascent in that regard. There's Downtown Forward, which all of them are doing something. They're working on security. They're working on other kind of aspects of downtown. But there's no entity like the partnership was that just thinks holistically about what do we need to get done downtown and has the funding to get stuff done.
7th Street connects Ballpark Village with the convention center. Harris has a vested interest owning a number of properties, and that gets us back to the shuttered Blues Museum on Washington Avenue.
When we were developing that building, a friend of mine came to me and said, "You should do the National Blues Museum here." And I was like, "That's insane. I have no interest in doing that." And he finally wore me down and convinced me. And the mayor got behind it. US Bank, CDC got behind it. There were some big institutions that got behind it. The folks at the casino got behind it. And we were able to put the money together to build it as an element of the cultural fabric of downtown. We took some loans out during COVID to stay open and keep people employed under the hope that after COVID, that downtown would come back to the way it was pre-COVID in terms of just street traffic and being able to get people in for concerts. And our ticket number was $10 or $15. It was pretty low, but we couldn't get that back, and so financially it wasn't. We were going to have to close it, and I hope be able to reimagine what it could be. I think it needs to be done in the context of a greater revitalization of downtown, and I think a sort of culture and entertainment centered reimagining of downtown.
What's the timeline? How long will it take?
I'm giving myself a year.
To see what happens.
Well, to see if I could do it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we have to restructure it financially. That's the first piece, and then if we're successful in restructuring it financially, we have to go back to the community and see if there's an interest in. We'd have to put a board together. So I have to see if there's an interest in the community of people, some substance, joining together and putting together a board that would help reimagine what this might be, and then it would need a few $1 million to open up again.
That's developer Amos Harris. It's now 8:19. Let's get a check of the roads for you with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Steve Butts and the entire Crawford Butts family wish America a very happy 250th. Things continue to get better, but we still have slow traffic, Megan. North 270, call it Big Bend up to Manchester, a little slow down north of there to Clayton Road. South 270, Olive to Ladue, that's still slow. Eastbound 70, just a little busy east of our city briefly, or east of the Blanchett into our city, rather, so it's not bad. 64 east of Clayton Warson in through Big Bend is still heavy. South 170 still bogs down to Parkway. Westbound 64 Hampton to Big Bend is slow. We still have these roadwork backups on 5570. Eastbound is jammed approaching 203, about midway into 111. Westbound is shorter jam in that area because of an incident. Westbound 111 to 203 is pretty solid, and the eastbound stuff extends almost midway between 111 and 255. Most of that's slow going once you get around that incident. As America celebrates its 250th anniversary, Steve Butts and everyone at Crawford Butts Insurance extends their heartfelt wishes for a safe and joyous 4th of July celebration. For generations, Crawford Butts has been proud to serve the community. Steve Butts and the entire Crawford Butts family wish America a very happy 250th. Next update at 8:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Thank you, Roger. And checking that forecast for today, that extreme heat warning remains in effect through 10 p.m. on Friday. We're going to have AccuWeather real field temperatures at or above 105 each afternoon. So for today, mostly sunny. That heat continues, a high of 99. Clear, warm, and sticky overnight, a low just 78 degrees. And then tomorrow, more hazy sunshine, hot and humid, a high of 97. Right now, we have sunshine, 80 degrees downtown at the Arch. And coming up on Total Information AM, we're going to return to that all-women crew that just flew in the Air Race Classic representing St. Louis University, find out how they did. They're back on the ground. Also, Sean Malone with attorney John Davis. He's going to talk about a 10-year-old charged with murder in the shooting of a 7-month-old. It's now 8:21.
Hi, Margaret with Eamon Gantner and Capriano. We all procrastinate. We put things off, confident we'll have time later. Well, one who procrastinates in choosing will inevitably have their choices made for them by circumstance. Could be an illness or even a death. And it happened to me. I was widowed at 41. It could happen to you. If you procrastinate and fail to plan for your future, for your children, circumstances and the courts will make your plans for you without your input. Eamon Gantner and Capriano help thousands of families plan for their future now. We can be your personal attorney too, guiding you with a will, trust, powers of attorney, Medicaid, and VA. You may delay, but time does not. Eamon Gantner and Capriano, YourEstateMatters.com.
The choice of an attorney is an important decision and shouldn't be based solely on advertising.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back for buying gas. That's right. You can earn cash back with Upside just for buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside, and just last year, I made nearly $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway.
why not get cash back? If you like extra cash, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back when you fill your tank. Use promo code FRESH to get an extra 35 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code FRESH for a 35 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code FRESH for a 35 cents per gallon bonus.
Hair Volume from New Nordic will make your hair look thick and healthy. Available as a tablet or delicious gummy. Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and newnordicusa.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
You're back with Total Information AM. I'm Megan Lynch. Last week, we introduced you to an all-female team of pilots from St. Louis University taking part in the annual Air Race Classic. It's an all-woman, daylight-only race held each June that spans 4 days and 2,500 miles. They're back on the ground. I had a chance to check in with the Billiken Blues, Sydney Nimerick, Jocelyn Ciotti, and Isabella Castro.
It was an amazing experience. You know, nothing compares to getting to fly, 2,700 miles around the country in 4 days. We successfully completed the race. Unfortunately, we did have to withdraw on our last leg for bad weather on our way from Prairie du Chien, Wisconsin to the end in Mount Vernon. But we were able to complete the race. We flew all the legs. We had a great time. We learned so much. We got so much great real world flying experience. We really got to work together very well as a crew. And yeah, there's just nothing like it. It was great.
And I guess that was one of the things that we had talked about was the possibility of weather. Did you experience it in other legs of your flight as well, or was it just this last one that you had to deal with?
There were a couple of times where we had to deviate from our route or do some extra planning with weather. On our way from Russellville, Arkansas to St. Joseph, Missouri, we had to deal with some isolated thunderstorms, and we were working together with air traffic control and also using uplink weather information to avoid the worst of the weather and deviate from our route while trying to deviate from our route as little as possible. But for most of the days, the first and the second day, we dealt with pretty good weather, and we're grateful for that.
How many states did you fly over?
It was approximately 15 states. Of course, we didn't land in all of them or have stops in all of them, but we got to see a lot of really cool landscape, and it was a really fun flight to visit a bunch of new places.
Now, you were all first-time participants. What do you each feel that you learned from this experience?
I can start for that one. I would say I've learned a lot about working together in a crewed environment, and also I've learned a lot about my personal minimums in terms of flying. This has really expanded my flying experience. I've not flown in this kind of different terrain before with all of these different weather conditions, and it really helped me grow as a pilot.
I would, piggybacking off of that, I would also say I learned a lot about my personal minimums as far as weather goes and how to handle different weather situations differently. I also learned a lot about working together with air traffic control. They came to our aid several times throughout the flight route, and I learned a lot about effectively communicating with them and using all of our resources that we had available in the cockpit.
I also would kind of say something similar. I learned a lot about crew resource management. I haven't taken that class here at school yet, but it was some great exposure to working with a team and also using a bunch of different resources. And I grew a lot more confident with everything that I had available. We were using a couple different radar services and some different weather observation systems. And so it was really cool to kind of use everything together and come up with a plan with the three of us in the plane, and then also our ground crew on the ground. They were also super helpful, and it was really awesome to have kind of such a collaborative environment.
Yeah, I understand there were crews of all ages besides the collegiate ones. What's it like to be part of a community like that?
It means quite a bit to us to be a part of a community like this, especially a community of women in such a male-saturated field. And it was really a blessing for us to be able to discuss and plan and talk to other teams that had veteran racers or older industry professionals who had so much valuable experience to share with us. I think speaking for all of us, we learned a lot from the past experience of other racers and just from the other collegiate racers, talking with them about how their flight team or their flight schools work and how they handle different situations in training.
That is the Billiken Blues Aviation Team, Sydney Nimerick, Jocelyn Ciotti, and Isabella Castro. It is now 8:27, and this time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Mizzou football is almost here. Get ready for the season opening kickoff and Como game on Thursday, September 3rd, with 4 tickets for only $80. Be there to see the finished Memorial Stadium Centennial Project, a deal for the entire family to enjoy the home opener. Let's keep the sellout streak alive and bring the energy as we kick off the 100th anniversary of Memorial Stadium. Purchase your 4 tickets for $80 at mutigers.com/kickoff in Como. MIZ.
At EasyCater, we believe every workday gets better with great food. The 9 a.m. staff meeting? How about breakfast burritos and lots of coffee? Big client presentation at noon? Let's do Mediterranean bowls. Accounting's gotta work late. Keep them pepped up with spicy noodles. With EasyCater, you get a huge variety of favorite restaurants with tools to help meet dietary needs and stay on budget, all on one platform. So make every workday better with EasyCater. Start an order at easycater.com.
Party at your place this summer? Fix things up inside and out with July 4th deals, now at Lowe's. Get up to 45% off select major appliances and save up to an additional 25% off when you bundle select major appliances. Plus, save $80 on the select Charbroil Performance Series gas grill, now $299. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 7/8 while supplies last. Selection varies by location. See Lowe's.com for more details.
Man, I love this place. I've been surfing here since I was a kid. Now, seeing my grandson out on the water, it means everything to me. Watching him and taking in the blue waves, the sea breeze, the blurry horizon.
If you have geographic atrophy, or GA, subtle changes in vision could mean it's progressing toward irreversible vision loss. Izervay is proven to slow GA progression and could help preserve your vision for longer, so you may keep seeing the world around you. Izervay, or avacincaptad pegol, is an eye injection. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may cause blood in the white of the eye, blurred vision, or a temporary increase in eye pressure. Do not drive or use machinery until vision has recovered after an eye injection or exam. Ask your retina specialist how you can slow your GA with Izervay. To learn more, call 1-855-IZERVAY or go to izervay.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
Let's get you to work safely. Roger Brand is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, it's not too much to be concerned about out there right now, Megan. This traffic reports a service of Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, northbound 270, Doherty Ferry up through Manchester, and another slow stretch north of there up through Clayton Road, the busiest part on that run. South 270 approaching Olive, down to Ladue, that's still kind of busy. Eastbound 70 cleared out east of the Blanchette Bridge. Eastbound 64, McKnight to Big Bend, you're still backed up. South 170 is on the brakes, closer to Brentwood now. Westbound 64, Clayton Skinker to Hanley, still heavy, and we still have these delays both directions on 5570. Jam each way. The jams form just east of 203. Eastbound goes 203 to that point, but it's still slow midway between 111 and 255, and westbound 111 and 203. You've got that backup as well. The rest of the highways, though, don't look bad. Call Overhead Door Company of St. Louis for their 26-point tune-up. It's one price for up to 3 garage doors and openers. Always look for the genuine, the original red ribbon of Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com. Next update at 8:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
How can a 10-year-old be charged with an adult crime? We're going to find out more about an unusual case coming up next. First, though, a check of the forecast from the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk. We are still under an extreme heat warning through Friday, mostly sunny today. The heat continues, a high 99, clear, warm, and humid tonight with an overnight low of 78. Right now, we have sunshine, 80 degrees in downtown St. Louis. A 10-year-old facing first-degree murder charges in the shooting death of a 7-month-old. KMOX's Sean Malone goes in depth.
I spoke to attorney John Davis, a partner with Kessler Williams, LLC, who has seen these types of juvenile criminal cases as a defense attorney, prosecutor, and judge. He tells KMOX this is the youngest murder charge he can think of.
The criminal justice system in Missouri handling a 10-year-old for first-degree murder is pretty unique.
He says the gravity of this case is deep and varies based on your role.
The gravity for the defense in this position would be the well-being of that child until he's at least 21 years old.
For the judge?
The judge, of course, absolutely positively wants to make it right and get it right.
And the prosecution
has the burden of proof and of protecting the citizens of in this case, the city, from the circuit attorney's office. And that's all taken very, very seriously from every aspect that's going to be going on in the courtroom.
The 10-year-old is not the only individual charged in this killing. 19-year-old Kamarion Pawnell faces 1 count of murder in the second and 3 counts of endangering the welfare of a child. How much of that case will reveal the details of the shooting?
The adult prosecution of the 19-year-old will shed some light on the facts and circumstances of what happened at the house that day. But it won't name the juvenile by name, won't give any specific details like that. But there already is a probable cause statement.
The probable cause statement has already shown the 10-year-old obtained the gun from under a mattress and that he was aware of it and had taken it before. How about the motivation of the 10-year-old? Is that something that could become public knowledge through Pawnell's case?
Not for public consumption, no. I can't imagine a scenario where that would happen, no.
However, the charge itself, murder in the first, does speak to some motivation.
First-degree murder in the state of Missouri requires a person to cause the death of another person, and I'm quoting the statute here, after deliberation upon the matter.
Davis says this steep charge means intent was clear.
Somebody thought about it. Somebody knew what the consequences were going to be and went ahead and performed the act.
One thing that will not be public, the verdict against the juvenile. Davis adds the purpose of the juvenile detention system is rehabilitation, not punishment.
It will be more an adjudication, and he will remain in juvenile custody in Missouri, again, with the idea for rehabilitation for whatever issues he may be dealing with.
With the alleged shooter being under 12 years old, the juvenile court cannot pursue certifying him as an adult. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance. And now we're customizing this ad for your morning commute to wake you up, which could help your driving. Science says that stimulating the brain increases alertness. So here's a pop quiz. How many months have 28 days? What gets wetter as it dries? What has keys but can't open locks? If you don't want to hear the answers, turn off this Liberty Mutual ad now. 12 months, a towel, piano. Enjoy being fully alert.
Liberty, 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 liberty. And the match is about to begin.
Most of the team is out with COVID-19, so there'll be some substitutes tonight.
What's this? We have an unexpected guest on the field.
It's a dog, but they could do with extra players.
She's going for the ball.
Are front paws hands or feet?
Soccer season is full of surprises, and COVID-19 could be one of them. If you test positive, prescription medications may help. Ask your doctor if they're right for you. Learn more at PfizerForAll.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Honey, did you invite the minions over?
Well, you know how we talked about getting Wi-Fi from Xfinity?
Yeah.
I ordered it this morning, was online in minutes, then they showed up.
So they just came over to use the Wi-Fi? For what?
Better not to know.
Get online in minutes with same-day Wi-Fi from Xfinity. Plus, lock in your price for 5 years and see Minions and Monsters only in theaters. Xfinity. Imagine that. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. Learn more at xfinity.com/same-day Wi-Fi.
Your Money Report, sponsored by Eamon Gantner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys. Here's Bloomberg's Courtney Donahoe.
Gasoline prices continue to drop as the summer travel season heats up. According to AAA, the average price for unleaded has now fallen to $3.85 a gallon. That's a drop of about 12% over the last month. A record 72.2 million Americans are expected to travel for the holiday week. Yesterday, a rally in several tech giants lifted stocks. The S&P 500 rose 1.2%. And the Justice Department and a number of states have reached a settlement with egg producers over allegations of illegal price coordination. Cal-Maine Foods and others will pay $3.3 million in civil penalties and donate more than 50 million eggs under the terms of the agreement. The investigation kicked off a little over a year ago following record-breaking prices for eggs. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
Tom Ackerman here. You know, I've been talking about McKelvey Homes for a while. McKelvey Homes, Missouri's oldest home builder, going back to 1898. They're the ones who've been doing it a long, long time. And they're breaking ground on something new in O'Fallon called Strawberry Farms. First foundations are in, display home opening soon, walking trails, a lake, a berry patch honoring the land's history as strawberry fields. That's why it's called Strawberry Farms. A private playground, Fort Zumwalt schools, a fresh start in a great location. Strawberry Farms in O'Fallon, Missouri. Look, I've worked with Jim Brennan, the president of McKelvey Homes, long enough to know when Jim and McKelvey decide to build something, they do it right. Visit McKelveyhomes.com to learn more. It's a great website, easy to navigate. McKelveyhomes.com to schedule a tour. Strawberry Farms in O'Fallon. Move up to McKelvey.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group. And I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney. And the truth is, I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. After 15 years and over 50,000 cancellations, I can tell you with confidence, we know how to get you out of your timeshare. Call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit guide absolutely free with all your options for cancellation. Attorneys, this was meant to be funny, so please don't sue me, especially my friend Kenneth from Black River Falls, Wisconsin.
Call now for your free timeshare exit info kit. 800-838-6767. 800-838-6767. 800-838-6767.
This is 104.1 FM KMOX. Here's what's happening. The death toll from a pair of massive earthquakes in Venezuela has now climbed to more than 1,700, more than 5,000 injured. The United States and Iran have separately announced they're sending delegations to Qatar this week, though Tehran insists it has not agreed to meet with the U.S. at any level. And in a setback for Warner Brothers' revamped DC movie operations, Supergirl absolutely no match for Toy Story 5 at the box office, opening a distant second to the Pixar blockbuster. Let's update you on the drive in to work. Roger Brand is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we still got delays on 5570, Megan. This traffic reports service of I-3 broadband. Eastbound, it's running from 203 to 111. East of there, not quite as bad. And westbound, west of 111 into 203. We had an incident just east of there, so it's still kind of sluggish on that run as well. Northbound 270, Doherty Ferry up through Clayton Road's busy. South 270 approaching Olive down to 64, or at least Ladue was busy. Eastbound 64, right as you approach 170 into Big Bend to back up. Westbound 64, west of Tam, headed out through Big Bend, slow. South 170. Bogs down at the Parkway. The rest of these interstates, though, are pretty much back to normal for you. With the kids home for the summer, your house is a digital zoo of streaming and gaming. Switch to i3 Broadband and upgrade your summer. Head over to i3broadband.com/radio today or call 1-866-806-5485 to upgrade today, because life runs better on fiber, and i3 Broadband is here for you. I'm Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, that heat's not going away anytime soon. We are under an extreme heat warning in effect through 10 p.m. on Friday. Mostly sunny today, a high of 99. Warm and sticky tonight, a low of 78. Tomorrow, more sunshine, hot and humid, a high of 97. Same story on Thursday. Hot and humid, sunshine, possibly a thunderstorm in spots Thursday afternoon, a high of 96. Right now, we have sunshine, 80 degrees in downtown St. Louis. You're back with Total Information AM on KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. Of course, summer camp's in full swing right now, but when your child has complex medical issues, what do you do to give them that same experience? For the second year, Rankin Jordan Pediatric Bridge Hospital is offering a unique summer camp for these kids and their siblings. Joining me on the Quiver River Electric Guest Line is Kristen LaRose, Chief Nursing Officer for Rankin Jordan. Good morning, Kristen.
Good morning.
How many of these children would ever really be able to go to a traditional or even a special needs summer camp?
Honestly, I would say very, very few. Our children have multiple complexities. It's not just usually one thing, it's multiple things that are going on with our kids. And so they require just a really high level of support that makes it really challenging to be able to do traditional fun things like summer camp.
This is happening this week. How does this work for the kids and their families?
So we are doing camp this year, June 30th through July 2nd, and parents will come to Rankin Jordan and they will be able to drop their kids off for summer camp. And then we provide programming for several hours for those kids. And it really is just as much of a traditional summer camp feel as we can possibly offer. We have music, we have water play, we have dance, we have gaming, we've got all kinds of adaptive equipment just to make it fabulous for our kids. And this year, what's unique is we are setting it up to where the parents will actually be able to leave the hospital. Last year, our first year, parents were required to stay in the building just for safety reasons, help us get to know the kids and their medical needs. But this year, we have an increased support staff, and we really feel like we are going to be able to offer that respite opportunity for families to be able to step away and catch their breath and take a little bit of a break and let us play with and love on these kids.
That respite piece, is that part of the idea of having siblings join this camp?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because as a parent, if you've got more than one child, you have to make plans for everybody, right? So to be able to drop the siblings off for these families, I think is such an incredible benefit so that they can truly step away and go do something kind of what normal parents take for granted. Maybe during camp time, you go get your hair done, go get your nails done, you run errands, and to not have to be managing, multiple kids at the same time is just such a gift. So we are thrilled to be able to offer that for our families this year.
With everything else that Rankin Jordan provides to families, how are you able to step back and get the staffing and the programming together for something like this?
I think what makes us so unique is that our mission is to really fill the gaps, find these unmet needs that our patients and families have, and try to do everything we can to make a difference. And it goes all the way back to our founder, Mary Rankin Jordan, who really took on this mission as something as she saw as a whole in the community that we need to be able to step in and provide this care. So our staff are incredibly connected to our mission. So they love it. We have lots of extra staff volunteer, nurses, clinical staff, therapists, volunteers to make this happen. And honestly, seeing what a success it was last year and just the joy on the kids and the families' faces and knowing that we made such a difference for them, people were so excited to step in and help provide the additional coverage that we needed to make it happen this year.
For those siblings, I'm sure they are at the hospital a lot. What is this like for them to get to engage in play together?
I think they love it because a lot of times you see siblings, they want to be involved too, right? They want to get to do all the fun things that their sibling is doing in therapy. And you see them kind of as a group effort, sometimes walking the halls. And they want to be engaged too. They get to know the team, they get to know the therapists as well. So to be able to do it all together and feel like you're part of what's going on, I can just imagine it's got to be super exciting for those siblings. So we're excited to be able to offer that for them.
Have you seen patients make progress through this camp in the past?
Absolutely. The beauty of it is that it really is spearheaded by our outpatient therapy team. So physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, rec therapy, music therapy, all of these different therapies are being worked on with the kids. And so It's disguised as playtime and fun time, but because we are all about play and trying to give kids a sense of normalcy back when they're, dealing with these multiple medical complexities, it happens organically. It really is a natural process. The kids don't realize they're making progress, but we see it as staff members, parents see it, because it's all about being a kid. It's about play.
That is Kristen LaRose, Chief Nursing Officer for Rankin Jordan Pediatric Bridge Hospital. Coming up next on Total Information AM, we're going to welcome Kat Neville back to the KMOX airwaves. She has a brand new role helping with tourism in the region, and we'll find out more about that next.
For decades, Morgan & Morgan has represented hundreds of thousands of people at their hour of need. Injuries on the job, car crashes, medical malpractice, and nursing home abuse, Social Security claims, dangerous drugs, and dangerous products. We became America's largest injury firm for a reason, and no firm is even close. Then we got to thinking, what if we could prevent these terrible events before they occurred? So we built the AI-powered People Protector. Simply visit peopleprotector.com and type in the product you have questions about before you buy it. Children's toys and accessories, cars, drugs, products, you name it, we got it. With our success, we decided to pay it forward for all of America. Our way of saying thank you for your trust all these years. Morgan & Morgan, protecting America. And if you've already been injured, just visit us at forthepeople.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
America is turning 250 this year, and Circa Sports is celebrating by offering all users in Missouri $250. For everyone in Missouri, all you have to do is deposit $250 on your Circa Sports app, then play through that deposit. Once you do, Circa Sports will reward you with $250 right in your account. This is available for everyone in Missouri, new and existing users. Celebrate 250 years and find out more at circasports.com today. Must be 21 or older and in Missouri. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Upgrade your summer ride with auto loan rates as low as 3.99% APR at Scott Credit Union. New or used, Scott Credit Union helps you love your ride and your rate. Learn more at scu.org. Rates vary. Terms and conditions apply.
Are moles tearing up your yard? Don't let these lawn invaders turn your beautiful property into a mess. Rottler Pest Solutions offers professional mole control services to protect your lawn from damage. Visit Rottler.com today to schedule your free inspection.
Sail on down to Busch Stadium for the inaugural Yacht Rock Night on Friday, July 10th. Watch the Cardinals take on the Atlanta Braves, and with the purchase of a special themed ticket, fans will take home an exclusive Cardinals captain's hat. And all week, listen to KMOX for a chance to win a pair of game tickets and theme tickets. Tickets are available at nlb.com/Cardinals. For more information, go to KMOX.com/contests.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM KMOX.
You're listening to Total Information AM here on 104.1 FM KMOX. And joining me in studio this morning is Kat Neville. She used to be Vice President of Communications for Explore St. Louis, and she's taking on a much bigger role as the agency is evolving. You are now Executive Vice President of Community Engagement for Explore St. Louis.
It's a mouthful.
It's a mouthful, and it looks like you've got a lot on your plate.
I do, but I'm so excited about this opportunity. Essentially, what we're doing is completely re-envisioning the idea of the partnership department, the way that our community intersects with Explore St. Louis. Previously, we really only served and connected with about 10% of the visitor economy. And as we're looking at how we can really kind of act as a connector and bring people together, alongside our other partners in the community, like Greater St. Louis Inc., the Sports Commission, some of these other organizations that are also kind of advancing St. Louis. It's really important that we develop really strong, knit together connections throughout the entire visitor economy. That's everything from, yes, obviously hotels and attractions, but to small mom and pop shops and little restaurants that really, when you're talking about people coming to St. Louis, you might come in for a convention, you might come in for a cards game, but then it's that tiny little place that you find that really speaks to what you want to do and what you love, that makes you say, oh, I am so glad I came to St. Louis. I had the best time. I met the most incredible people. And so, yeah, we're right at the very beginning of this journey. And obviously, it is alongside the work that Julie Gilbert, our new CMO, is going to be doing. She is leading the development of a regional brand, something that we all know has been called for, for years. And so, she is going to be leading that effort alongside a complete rethink of our digital ecosystem. And so as the work that we do in the new Department of Community Engagement supports that work, we're also going to be supporting the work of our convention services team, our sales team, to make sure that they are truly connected to all of the different entities that can really lead to success in that meetings, events, and visitation, lens of St. Louis.
Remind us just how significant tourism and travel and visitors to this region are to our economy.
Oh, it is incredibly important. I don't want to misspeak exactly because the numbers do fluctuate, but it is multiple billions of dollars of income. And what you really see is the ripple effect of the tax income that St. Louis City and St. Louis County get from these visitors. This is brand new money. These are people who are coming in. It's not someone who lives locally going out to out to a show at the Rep or something like that and spending money that kind of stays within the local economy. This is new money coming in. So it's an opportunity for us to expand the economic footprint that is generated through these experiences. And I think that it's really important to understand, again, that the visitor economy, quote unquote, is not just hotels and downtown. This is throughout the entire region. This is everything from, Paint Louis, which is, they bring in muralists and graffiti artists from around the entire world and been doing it for like over 20 years down on, Mural Mile, to what is going on in Clayton with the St. Louis Art Fair. So there are so many different ways that people intersect with the St. Louis experience. And that is really what we're working to develop, is making sure that we create a construct where people know how to intersect with the work that we're doing, and that we can ensure that people who are coming to St. Louis and locals who use our platforms and intersect with us as well, that they are inspired to go out and experience everything that the St. Louis region has to offer.
Has it been helpful to have new leaders that are coming into the region from outside, because we're so entrenched? We know it so well. Maybe we don't think of some of the obvious things that they have thought of when they come here.
I do think that is a positive, because you don't come in with any preconceived ideas. You come in, you start talking to people, listening to people, and finding what the opportunities are. And so, for example, on our team, Charmin Aaron is our new Senior Director of Business Development. And previously, she was the Vice President of Engagement at Greater St. Louis Inc. She comes to us with hotel experience, but also that experience of working with GSL. And so she's going to go on a 90-day listening tour. We have a top kind of 100 target list for her to personally get out, have coffee, have meetings, and just listen. What are we doing right? What are we doing wrong? How can we support you? Where are the gaps? What needs to happen through Explore St. Louis that can have that positive impact on the St. Louis region? Again, not just with us in a silo, but as we're working with our other community partners to advance the St. Louis region. So, she is going to go out and listen before we really come up with any concrete plans. And also on my team, I'm going to be bringing on an event manager who is going to work on an annual slate of events, everything from our annual meeting, which obviously the annual meeting, but then also a series of industry access events where we're bringing speakers and leaders in to impart, lots of data and knowledge, but then also panel discussions, listening sessions, so that we're always out in the community. And then we're also bringing in a local comms leader who is going to really drill down on how we can best use e-coms and our website to get critical information out to that very broad constituent group so that everyone has an understanding of what's happening in the visitor economy, what the data is, what the trends are, and how they can use that to advance their own interests.
So I'm sure you've already reached out to a bunch of people, but if we have stakeholders who are listening right now and say, I want to be a part, I've got an idea, I want to be on your map, where should they reach out to?
Just reach out to me via email. It's cneville, Neville, at explorestlewis.com. I live on my email. I try to always answer everybody. So please, absolutely, if anyone listening wants to be involved in the work that we're doing, I would love to hear from you.
Kat, thank you so much, and congratulations again.
Thank you.
That is Kat Neville with Explore St. Louis. She is the new Executive Vice President of Community Engagement. Make sure you join us tomorrow, 8 o'clock here on Total Information AM.
Time now for today's